Alright, hello everyone, my name is Speedy, welcome to NotSoSpeedRuns. We are here with Blades in the Dark 6 and 20. You may notice we are missing someone. Unfortunately, Madame Gandalf is AFK right now. We can't seem to find her anywhere. Gone off on the
She's lost in America.
Dustfall. Yeah. Lost in America. She's found herself a nice brothel somewhere in Brightstone and well, hasn't been seen in days. But we're going to go ahead and get started here. It's good to see all of you in chat. Thank you so much, Kitty, for that raid to start things off. And Peachy for that host as well. You guys are all great.
I don't know what sound peaches make.
That's the sound peaches make, correct.
No. Oh, yes. Okay.
Anyways, Shalia, thank you for the resub as well. I really appreciate it. You're the best.
Around?
Yeah. No one's ever gonna let you down. And speaking of going down, let's go ahead and go to our cast starting with Trendane.
Does this have anything to do with the plump juicy wieners thing we were talking about before the... No? Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Just, well, okay. That's all right. So long as Johnny and I do. It's okay. You keep laughing. You're muted. I can't hear you anyway. So, hi everybody. I'm Trend Sparks. I am a professional. Voiceover personage, voice actor kind of guy thing. I do video games and audiobook narrations, and on occasion I might do a commercial or two, but it's pretty rare. But aside from that, I am playing the Whisper, whose name is Hocus. Yes, his name's Hocus, and he is he's really not quite sure where his priorities lie anymore. He had very clear-cut, well-defined goals, and then everything just went higgledy-piggledy, and now he isn't really sure what he needs to do. Yeah, it's craziness. This is normally where I would, have balls descend on Madame Gandalf, but again, she's not here, so I guess I'll have to dunk on well, yeah, you actually, as the case. Do you want me to send the balls that way, or do you just want to take it? Maybe not take it. Maybe that's not the best. You know what?
This is getting gross.
Just go.
Give me your balls, Trent.
All right, there you go.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, my name is Joff. I don't know who I am or what I do, but I do know I am here, and that's to play Jinx Codifer, potential leader of the Scotland Revolution. We'll see. Hi, how are you? I'm well. Lulu, save me. Here, have some balls.
I'm good. Thanks, though. I'll pick them up later.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Louise. I'm playing Sling / Esther / I've got a
it's
lion.
just those two, really.
Life is
Jinx
good.
is the one with a lot of names.
I've got a lion.
You do have a lion.
I have a lion and a goat. Woo! I'm starting the Doskull Zoo, basically, is what's happening here today.
And the lion shall lay down with the lamb.
I didn't hear that because my earphones fell out, and I feel that's probably a good thing.
No, not really. I mean, yes, it's a good... No, it's not a good thing that you didn't hear it. It was actually... I said, and the lion shall lay down with the lamb, which, if Steam were here, he would immediately follow up with the god must be the owner of a zoo or something.
Oh, yes. Well, that is me. That is your girl, Sling. Back to you.
Oh, thanks. That's your girl Sling, and I'm Speedy. I'm playing as Sky, the spider, the guy who kind of tries to come up with plans for these people, but does so very poorly. Things never really seem to go according to plan, and right now I've been much more concerned with trying to reconcile the ghost of my dead sister from long ago, Lyra, which has been surprisingly going mostly according to plan for now. That's like one of those things that you shouldn't say. Like, at least it's not raining.
Don't jinx it. Yeah.
Don't jinx it. Yeah. Is that jinxing it is what we call just
Like
messing
we're going to
something
be
up
in the middle of
entirely.
a fight and he's going to swing. He's going to roll triple ones and his sword is going to go right through the middle of the spirit bottle. And yes, that's exactly what I mean.
Okay, that's what I thought. But before I turn things over to Johnny to recap us on what happened last time we were here, because none of us remember because it's been like 2 whole weeks.
What, you think I remember?
Someone has to.
I do.
Okay, you can recap us then.
No.
Well, okay, it's fine.
It's not my job.
But a few announcements as we get started. This is our penultimate episode of season 2 right now. So next week will be our season 2 finale, and that's listen. I'm still jet lagged.
Yeah.
TwitchCon.
Okay. Yeah.
That's my excuse. Also occurring next week will be Goatchella, Dustfall's Indie Music and Arts Festival, which will be occurring in the game and at home for all of you. Those of you who are subscribers, like Schuyler here, who came by and subbed, you guys can have your name put on this awesome Goatchella poster.
Right. I was just about to ask that.
Yeah.
How many people have we had send in their band names for the poster?
We've had at least a few. I haven't been able to actually put them on yet. Also, my face isn't over where you're looking right now. You're kind of looking at the edge of the screen. But we've had quite a few on. We haven't had the chance to actually put them on the poster. But your name too can be on that if you donate to the stream, which donations of $5 can provide us with criticals to succeed on things
Or fail.
or fails, critical successes or failures.
But mainly successes.
But mainly successes. To really just help us out with whatever it is that we want to do, because we need all the help we can get. We can't just roll 666 like you can see that Frowd did last week or yesterday.
Last night it was
God
incredible.
damn it.
It's really impressive.
But
And
yeah,
it really worked out really well too. Let's be honest.
It did.
but you can donate to give crits to the players, and you can have your name put on the Goatchella poster also as a result.
So all those stupid band names you came up with in high school, you can put them on the poster that isn't over there.
What was that? What were you gonna say, Johnny?
I just want to make sure Goaterhead is on there.
Oh yeah, Goaterhead. You can have Goaterhead.
Have you
Gautier.
subscribed?
Goats and Hoes.
Did you subscribe, Johnny?
I just did, actually.
Okay, then.
There you go.
I am the GM, though. I guess I could probably enforce it in some way, shape, or form, but that's all. Let's let Speedy finish up. So.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not over there.
Donations, subs, you can have your name or whatever goat pun you want on that set list. Those of you who donate, I'm making this decision. Those of you who donate $30 or more, you can get yourself a Goatchella t-shirt as well.
Ooh, Lord.
Whoa, when are we getting those? And where do I buy them?
Can we get
They're
them?
not
as
ready yet
well?
because we don't have the set list ready yet.
Oh, damn it!
But I mean, just
What I mean.
we're donating our time. Can we also get these?
You've already got a 6 and 20 shirt. Come on, what more do you
Yep.
What are you talking about?
Coachella shirt?
Coachella is more cooler than that.
Goatchella is really cool. I mean, if you want to get yourself a Goatchella setlist shirt with all of the bands performing on the back of it, that'll have to be done by...
How are my friends going to know I'm cool if I don't have the Coachella shirts?
And all your friends can be like, oh man, I've always wanted to go to Goatchella, and you can be like, nerd.
It should also be noted that Goatchella takes place in Oghard Park, and that's where all of the Eruvian horses still are. So you could probably have horse puns as well.
True.
That is true.
throw in any sort of Blades in the Dark pun you want.
And lion puns, because now there's a lion.
And apparently,
Larry the Lion.
yeah.
The lion. Great. Also, we still have our art contest going on, so if you like what you see today and you make art and you want to enter for a chance to win a copy of Blades in the Dark, a book of the system that we're using, you can do that. Make yourself a drawing of like one of the characters or a scene or whatever you think is really cool about this game, and you can win that. Just tweet with hashtag 6and20art, and we will find you. But I think that is all that I have for announcements, so let's go ahead and turn things over to Johnny so he can tell us what the hell is going on. Johnny?
I have no clue.
We ended off last time by getting a train.
You did not end off last time by getting a train.
We ended off. She ended off doing something.
No. Fine. You know what? I'll tell you what. Everybody, I'm going to play Hocus tonight. Trendane is your DM.
Oh,
awesome.
shots fired.
Trendane, I would like to crit, please.
No.
Yeah,
no,
Trendane, I'd like to
No.
crit, please.
no, no.
Please.
So, no. You guys are trying to make your jailbreak thing happen, and as you're walking across the bridge with the sparking, wires that are in very ill state of repair, which we saw last week, I believe it was last week, when Jinx decided to kill a couple of guys, and then make out with Ari, which was fantastic.
That was pretty hot.
There is a massive energy surge in as the new lightning barrier goes online, and there was a slight fault because one of the Sparkrights who was in charge of doing the examination of all the things, because the Sparkrights kept their area in such a shit state, he actually contracted a bizarre plague. And so he wasn't quite in his right mind when he did his final examination of the place. There was some monstrous power surge which overloaded the bridge, tore open a hole in the space-time continuum, and all Phantom, including Goat, and the train and the goats and everything, it disappeared into this hole that just vanished, and Duskfall was obliterated off the map right as that stupid Ponzi fuckhead of Bauer slut, whatever the fuck his name is, was raising his glass full of goat jizz to say, "I'm the fucking older man," and just boom, gone. Thank you for watching Blades in 20, ladies and gentlemen.
Seriously,
Sorry,
I want to
Hocus.
play in your game.
Hocus, I'm sorry, did you have a question?
Holy shit. All right,
I mean,
guys.
I'm in.
I couldn't do any better than that. That was amazing. 6 and 20 is over. Phantom wins. See ya. Okay, guys.
Someone clip that. He said it. It's true.
It's over.
Yeah, don't clip anything I said. Just clip him saying that's it. Phantom wins.
We've won now, so can I? I've got places
Yeah,
to
you
be.
can go.
So.
Yeah.
You gotta go to bed,
Thanks.
lady.
All right, let's get started. We're 30 minutes
All right,
in.
guys.
We haven't done anything yet.
So, as
just
was
won.
alluded to by Hocus there, Jinx tracked somebody down who was monitoring the conversation in the meeting that happened between Jinx, Sky, and Raymond Bowerstone. And in tracking him, realized that there is something amiss, and while he was running to escape and draw Jinx into a trap, Jinx did what?
Muted.
You're muted. What? You're muted.
We'll try it again.
I'm not muted.
Yep, nope,
You're
okay.
very, very quiet.
Must have a loose cable or something.
I threw my kukri.
Yes.
You threw your kukri and you murdered the individual in the that was running away from you. You were able to get to the body in time and recover some interesting things off the body before making your daring escape back to the arms of Ari, which began a interesting little exchange of love and kisses and throwing, some guy over the bridge. Yeah, whatever. But after that, you guys did some downtime actions. Sling decided that she was going to do some research into her demon sort of hybrid self and discover how to make bullets that match the blade that Nyx currently carries on the Shroud, which is some sort of demon weapon. Holding that off to the end, the crew decides that it's time. That's adorable. I'm in. That the crew decides that it's time that they actually get a freaking headquarters and make a deal with the Ministry of Preservation to continue to provide certain interesting things to them while getting essentially a rail car. The deal goes so well that the rail car that you actually get is a Railjack's bunker car that they typically have on a train, which houses their sleeping arrangements, their workshop for their weapons and other tools that they use in defending the actual trains between cities out in the Deathlands. That is adorable. So that was we need a pun jar. We really do need a pun jar. And so at the end of that, there was much celebration, and Sling finally told us the story of what Sling/Esther actually did in order to begin to acquire the knowledge. And the knowledge was that these demon blades are actually made out of Leviathan teeth, and they are crafted in such a way. And it turns out that Esther actually knows how to do this. This is something in her past. And so the first stab at this, or the first part of this whole project to create these blades or these bullets, was that she acquired some Leviathan teeth through some nefarious means, which involved, what was it, Sling?
I mean, you know, she just kind of took a hit out on someone. It wasn't no big deal. I didn't see anybody die, but it was pretty brutal.
No. It was pretty beautiful. And I believe there was a little bit of a meme action at the end there, too, if I remember correctly. So with that, we find ourselves at the end of the score, payoff having been done, talking about heat, entanglements, and then we go in directly into downtime actions for the score that was the acquisition of the rail car. So, guys, let's really talk about heat for a second, because this is one of those peculiar situations. You were in a very public place, and while Ari did a really awesome job of disguising herself as Genevieve, Sky's assistant, Sky actually went in relatively,
undisguised.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, relatively known kind of a situation.
My natural beautiful self, yeah.
You're getting ballsy as Nyx. So, and you also happen to have met a blue coat captain, I believe it was, the blue coat captain of Charter Hall, who your contact in the Ministry of Preservation made sure to introduce you to when you walked in, or when he walked in and greeted her at the table. So all of that happening says that there was at least some amount of exposure. It wasn't smooth and quiet. To me, that seems at least contained. Does anybody have a different perspective on that?
What's the other option? Loud and raucous?
Smooth and quiet, contained, loud and chaotic, wild and devastating. And wild and devastating is every 80s party that Trendane probably went to.
You would be surprised how few there actually were.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I went to some pretty wild and crazy parties in the 80s.
I'm really not that much of a party person at all. The most raucous one I can think of was I was standing in the front yard. It was at Texas University, North Texas State University, and I'm standing in one of the frat house things. I had a big party. Just kind of wandered up, and I'm standing in the front yard with everybody else, just kind of looking around while everybody else is partying and whatnot. And this dude reaches out of the crowd and just caresses my face. And I mean, I just can do that, and then I realize it's a guy I went to high school with, that I had a pretty significant crush on, and nothing ever came of it, and I'm very pissed off about it. I'm sorry, we were playing this game.
I was really interested in the story, though. It was like you GMing. I really appreciated that story. But so, anyways, back to the point at hand. Is it anything worse than contained, or is it Can you
I would say
consider it
contained.
smooth?
I would say
Or
contained.
contained.
Okay. So, high-profile targets.
Yes.
The Ministry of Preservation is definitely a high-profile target, especially the person that you were speaking to.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever.
I mean, they're not that great.
Okay, so +1 heat for that. So that means that's 3 so far. I don't think this is a hostile turf. I don't think this was a war situation. And I really don't think anybody died.
It's a war of love.
You should have seen him last night when Steam tried to say, I think we're going to get one for love. Oh my God. That was so funny. Oh, Jesus. Sorry.
That's why I kind of wish you were there at that. That was a funny moment. Oh my God.
Okay, so how much heat is that total?
That is a total of 3 heat. Although if it was a war of love, maybe it's a -1 heat, and maybe it's no.
Wait a minute.
Love is never a negative.
I mean, there was
That's
love
not true.
involved there. I totally
was love
seduced her.
involved.
That's -1 point for.
That's
However-
right. That roll went really well,
And
I forgot about that.
do we want to count the captain as also being somebody who was above tier? Or we didn't really interact with him that much.
Well, so the blue. So one, it's not a matter of interacting, and two, technically, the Blue Coast and Charter Hall would be about the same tier as you guys are right now.
That's weird.
So that's where it comes into play. Is from a tier perspective, yeah, there was no real difference there. So absolutely, with that, yeah, that roll really.
Because it saved his ass. Because she caught him in a lie. And
Yeah. Okay. All right. Because even though it was a high profile target, I think 2 heat makes a difference because of that roll. I forgot all about that. That is a really good point, guys. Okay, so it's 2 heat.
Points for love.
Just
Even
contained.
though things got pretty hot, but not in terms of heat. Ladies, okay.
All right, guys. So next up comes entanglements, and entanglements gets rolled privately. What is your current heat level?
3.
Just 3. Okay.
it's interesting. That's exactly what Shrouds is at.
What is your wanted level?
1.
Okay.
I need to go to jail.
Okay. Great. Perfect. No problem at all. Love it. Absolutely.
How much
Can
coin?
totally
did we
know how
get?
to. Huh?
Do we get coin?
Yeah, you guys got coin last time. I thought.
Yeah.
I thought
Oh,
we
took care of
did
it
pay
all?
off.
We got
Yeah.
4.
Cool.
And I believe you also got 4 rep from it too.
Sounds right.
Yep.
Probably.
All right. Cool. So, guys, now it's downtime actions. Where do you want to start?
Oh, I hadn't given that any thought at all.
Oh yeah, no, not at all. Oh, yeah. Okay. Who wants to go first? All right, Mr. Godifer.
Yeah.
Want to put
Mine are
those
gonna
clocks
be
on the screen, by the way?
You can sure have them. Just a second. Go ahead, Jinx.
First thing I need to do is get my stress down because I am capped. So I am going to indulge my vice.
Have we completed the conversation or completed the transition for your vice? Because I know that you wanted to get away from being a drunk.
I was gonna move that towards Jinx wanting to prove himself more and more in one-on-one combat. I was gonna transition him to doing something like fighting pits.
Stupor is the one that
Yeah.
Sam is actually using because she's a cutter as well.
Okay.
And she uses stupor as her vice, and the way that we describe that is that the fighting pits are exactly that. Which I would love if your 2 characters met at some point and fought, because she has not had a challenge yet. She's a little disappointed about that.
Stupor in what way? Getting your bell rung quite a few times and just being like loopy as all hell?
Stupor in just the overwhelming experience of pushing yourself physically to the limit, whether it's you physically get beaten or you beat the shit out of somebody. Very much a Fight Club kind of scenario where, do you remember the scene where Edward Norton beats the hell out of Jared Leto?
Mm-hmm.
That's the scene. That was her example of how that worked for me.
I think
But this
I think I
wouldn't
watched it
translate
once.
to trauma.
Huh?
This wouldn't translate to trauma. I'm not going to walk away from this with any injury.
No, you are not going to walk away from this with any injury, right? You wouldn't even walk away really with any harm, because what it is it's actually relieving your stress, and you would, relatively speaking, you wouldn't gain any real substantial harm from it.
All right, then why don't we say that Jinx is actually going to get his jollies by taking to some of the Scotland fighting pits and challenging a couple people and trying to get some, trying to take on multiple opponents at once. He's trying to relive the glory days.
Okay.
That would also narratively play into, reestablishing Jinx as a more commonplace figure now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, if people are seeing Jinx fight, that leads to stories. It helps build the Jinx brand.
The Jinx brand, I like that a lot.
Jinx Brandifer.
It sounds painful.
Jinx Brandifer. Thank you. Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, all right.
He's going to have a line of cologne.
Yeah, it's our new clothing line. I can't wait.
Yep.
That's going to be one smelly cologne. Okay, so go ahead and make that change on your character sheet, and then let's go ahead and have you indulge your vice.
Okie dokie. Where are you, Vice?
Should be right where the stress... so the text of the vice should be where your character name is, around there, and then the actual indulge vice button should be by the stress.
I see it. Okay. Here we go.
Nice!
Wow. Holy shit. Okay, so number one, it seems like the transition from being a drunk to this fighting stupor is really benefits Jinx and goes more to his core, to the core aspect of who he is. So describe to us what that's like for Jinx that first time visiting this fighting pit.
That's probably Jinx stepping into the ring and going one-on-one and just clocking this guy, and he goes down immediately, and inviting two to come into the ring. Two more step in, and he takes them in quick succession, and then he's just getting pissed off and bored, and he's inviting three people in, four, and he's literally ducking and dodging, and no swords. This is just him doing bare knuckle fighting and literally taking guys down until the entire ring is lined with 7-8 bodies, and they're in various states of consciousness, and Jinx is standing there and like, yeah, I feel good.
Does one of them kind of get a lucky shot in and catch him on the side, and he's like, you punched me in the fucking ear? That was fucking perfect! And then just decks him.
Yes.
I like where this is going. This actually gives me additional plot points to actually throw at you. I love it. This is so good. Okay, so Jinx comes out of this situation feeling invigorated. Is there any lingering effect that may be a complication? I'm just curious because this is the first time you've ever done this. This is a transition to a new vice and a new type, a new indulgence. Is there some side effect to it taking it the first time? I mean, because eventually, I would imagine that it would be your normal behavior and it would be a normal part of it. But what is it that might be different for Jinx coming out of this for the first time?
Well, the one thing is going in, he's covering up exactly how much he's jonesing. He's having a hard time giving up the bottle. So he's not doing well. His physical health is suffering. So when he goes into the pits, he's angry. He is spitting and hissing, and that might shock people if they're on the edge of this ring and they're watching him. They might actually be a little taken back by how violent and angry this man is. Grin was previously very quiet, very calm, very controlled, and all of a sudden, Grin has transitioned to Jinx, and whoever this man is, he's a very, very angry man. He is not in control, and that comes out as he's taking these people down. He's not holding back. He is taking these people down in very quick succession. It's punching them in the jaw, punching them in the neck. He's knocking these people out. So when he leaves, he's not sparring. When he leaves, maybe a couple people notice exactly how much he's shaking. That could be from the jonesing, and that could be from trying to get himself back under control because he really enjoyed it.
Wow. Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay, that actually gives me something else I wanted to bring up. Okay, cool. All right, so that's your first downtime action. Excellent job on indulging your vice. What would you like to do with your second?
I am... I'm really tempted to do some training, but that seems almost like a waste unless I spend coin. I kind of want to start a clock for a jailbreak,
Okay.
but I don't even know how to frame this within
we'll
the narrative.
Let's start talking about it and let's see what that actually means.
We'll workshop it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, I mean, the goal is we want to get Ulf, our Scotland friend, out. Jinx wants to get Samandra out. Is Mercy still in Ironhook, did we determine?
Mercy is no, she is not in Ironhook prison. She was the one of the few that didn't go with them, remember?
That's right. Oh, that's right. She hasn't surfaced yet.
She has not surfaced yet.
Right. But Samandra is being held.
In Ironhook, absolutely.
Right.
Because that was a devil's bargain consequence.
That's right. Yeah, and that's what Jinx is worried about because again, an Imperial captain in Ironhook is not going to do too well. Yeah. So Jinx is feeling a little impatient, and that's why I need this clock. I want there to be whether Jinx kind of wants to go to jail. Jinx kind of wants to go there and leverage his contact inside Ironhook.
Okay.
We kind of need you to go to jail too. If we want to go to a wanted level, someone has to.
Yeah.
And
but
of course,
I don't.
The
I also.
reason,
no, go on.
I was going to say the biggest reason is muscles. We need to get muscles.
We need to get muscles.
Yeah.
So there's 3 people, but I'm loath for Jinx to go to prison on his own because then, party is split and Jinx is doing his own thing, unless we can cover that in like 5 to 10 minutes.
Well, it depends on how. The ultimate goal is to get the 3 of them out, right? So it's to free Ulf, it is to free Samandra, and it is to free or discover the ultimate circumstances around Muscles. Because I'm not sure Sky is necessarily liking the idea of Muscles getting released again.
I was just joking about Muscles.
Okay.
And see, Jinx wouldn't be joking about that because Muscles is a Scotlander who wasn't doing too well last time they saw him.
He was not.
So
he was not doing well in prison, period, right?
Yeah.
So that was a circumstance. All right. So is that ultimately a score that visit to prison is going to be, or is that more something that you want to arrange as sort of a long-term project where it's like you're manipulating the situation using the asset that you have in prison to help you do that?
I would say it's a score if the majority of the crew are involved in the score. If it's just Jinx goes to prison, that's not so much a score as that's Jinx attempting to reduce heat and hopefully save his friends.
So I guess my question would be, if thinking solely of the reduction of heat, Jinx goes to jail. How long, or is that like a downtime thing where time becomes ephemeral and it doesn't really matter?
I believe
or is he going to be out of play?
Is with a wanted level of 1, you're in prison for a few weeks.
Whoa.
Wanted level of 0 is a few weeks, or the blue coats give you a beating to teach you a lesson. Wanted level of 1 is a month or 2. So you ultimately entering prison may not necessarily allow you to exit easily unless this is an escape.
Right.
For all of you, not just Ulf and... now, I could make go ahead.
If we were to break out of prison, would we still have the wanted level?
That all depends on how you break out of prison, right?
That's exactly what I was just thinking of, and what I was thinking is a dickhead move.
Which is?
We get Jinx in there to take the fall, for thus reducing the heat, and while he's in there, he makes Muscles take his place. So Jinx is still in there. Or whatever Skov is the one that's being blamed for the thing, Jinx goes in pretending to be him and not actually Jinx, and then passes it off on Muscles, who we just abandon. Just wash our hands of him and leave him and gone.
Tried to do
And
that
then-
episode 1.
Yes,
That
but
didn't
you
work out so well, did it?
You didn't have all of us working together as well as we do now, because
Sure.
we like to plan things out.
So I was going to make this.
jailbreak anyway. That was like, because regardless of, because they're not just going to let them go. So even if we wait until you can be away for a month in jail, you'd still need to break them out. So we may
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
Not
still need to-
necessarily. Not necessarily. If we decide to go with the Jinx Muscles switch, we do have a very significant asset in there. Muscles has been in there for a while.
We have 2 very significant assets.
And so if Muscles becomes the person who takes over or if Jinx becomes Muscles at the end of his prison sentence and comes out, thus leaving Muscles to take the fall for the heat that we have accrued, then we don't quite have to do a jailbreak. We just have to get all of them out at once.
Trendane beat me to the suggestion that I was going to make, except that I wasn't actually going to suggest that it was Muscles. I was going to suggest that Jinx is able to convince a Scovlander to do that.
Any Scotlander. It doesn't have to be muscle.
Oh,
Right.
I've just thought of a really big-headed, arrogant Scotlander who might want to do that. Actually, Ulf.
But you're trying to get him out, aren't you?
Don't we need him out?
I don't necessarily need him out if I have his network, if I have his people.
Oh,
I don't know if you've- Say what?
No.
No,
I'm thinking
no.
out
Say what?
loud. I'm just thinking out loud.
It's okay
yes,
to think
please
out loud.
do.
It's like, how, I'm just wondering if we to make sure that we get his network like properly, won't we need him there?
Could be as simple as a calling card.
Yeah, calling card or his passwords.
And he just says, "Oh, you want my? Well, then talk to this guy and tell him that I said blah."
You could just get into prison and figure out on the inside whether Ulf is worth breaking out or if he's someone you could be better off pinning it on.
Yeah, either free him or stitch him up.
And then hook up with a bunch of other criminals, one of whom is a tiny raccoon who's like, "I need that guy's leg."
And there's our spin-off.
Perfect.
So I don't.
Guardians of Coachella 2. Sorry.
Oh my
All
God,
right,
it's
that's a game I want to play. All right. Anyways, okay. So all of those are really good options. What would you like to do moving forward with this long-term project specifically? Then I'll tell you what. Would you like me to come back to you while you think about it and maybe talk to everybody in chat?
Yeah.
Okay,
give us
so we'll
ideas,
come back to you. Okay, who wants to go next while Jinxie Poo is doing his thing? Not everybody jump up at once. Oh my god.
I wasn't planning to.
I guess I could.
Okay,
there we
for
go.
it.
No. Hello. Hi everyone, my name's Sling, and I'm here for some downtime.
Let's get down with this.
Let's get down. All right, I'm ready. Yes, I've had too much coffee for being here. Yes, it's downtime. Hello.
So you do have, looking at the screen with all of the clocks, you do have one pip up with the demon bullet.
I do indeed. And to confirm, if that pip is pipped, as it were, all the way to make a full clock, does that mean I then have the bullets? Or that I then can make the bullets?
That you then can make the bullets, and the crafting of the bullets will be just a roll.
Right. Okay. In that case, I would like to work on that, please.
All right, so first let me complete that project on the screen. Second, what do you remember about that project?
What, just in general, or just the whole?
Just what are the steps that you remember, for getting to the point? Because you got a lot through Esther when you did this.
Yes. It started with Sling talking to herself / Esther at the spirit well, and hearing some saucy deets from said well about other such things, and then using that information to discover what they are made out of, and then going and Esther taking over Sling and not putting it out, but doing a hit on somebody to get it all murdered and get the teeth.
Okay. So in completing that progress clock, Esther reveals the final steps of the circumstance that goes into it. And the crafting of these, essentially these bullets, these elements, is a combination of infusing them with spectral energy and the actual physical crafting of making, essentially ammunition, right? To actually, compressing the gunpowder into the shell casing and then putting the bullet on top and doing all of that. But there is a certain amount of spectral energy that has to go into that, and it requires you to infuse it in some way. Esther can do it, but it would mean relinquishing control of yourself to Esther again in a significant way. And she's whatever happened in the relationship between the two of you when she was stabbed and subsequently diminished, she now is no longer able to ever actually take control without your consent. And she doesn't have the power to hold on to that for very long. So the alternative is that if you can get a whisper to help you, you should be able to do this with her knowledge.
Now, you and I are thinking along the same lines.
Yep.
Yeah. Sling will head and try and find Hocus, wherever he may be.
Okay. And so that completes that clock. There is one other piece of caution that Esther gives you as you complete this clock. These bullets, when used against a mortal, have a radically different effect. If it kills the person, it will kill them. But if it doesn't, they will have a radically different effect.
Does she say what that effect is?
Possession.
Nice.
Bullets.
Possession bullets. That's so cool.
Because you were infusing something with spectral energy, it requires a ghost in some way. It may not be all of the ghosts, but there are some elements of that plays in. Depending upon the act of actually infusing the bullet with spectral energy will then determine the ultimate result if somebody survives.
Ooh. Ooh. That's exciting. Okay.
Wait, we don't still have those spirit vials that we had when we were blowing up the lightning berry, do we?
The dozen spirit vials? No, I took those.
You mean the ones that you could have grabbed when you were back at the camp grabbing your carriage, but never actually did? No.
Shit! They weren't just in the carriage still?
No, they took them from me when we were in the
God, they
tent.
did, yeah. Well, that's all right. There's plenty of spirits around.
You know what's funny? You were talking to the quartermaster too, and the quartermaster probably had some really good information. I mean, you could always do a flashback.
Flashback.
Is it too late to do a flashback?
Flashback. We picked
No,
up
because
the
that gives me some narrative things to play with, Moon. To bring into the Moon.
I would like to do a flashback.
Flashback.
Okay,
we
well,
picked up the vials.
So hold on just a second. Sling has completed one of her downtime actions. I'm going to ask Louise to think about her second downtime action and any other narrative elements while we swap over to Speedy, who's going to do a flashback.
Yes.
Now, Speedy, how are you going to execute this flashback? I mean, what is the steps what is the thing that's going to happen here?
So, when we were getting the cart,
Ari was with you and making all kinds of a ruckus with a quartermaster, claiming that the carriage was hers and that the goats were hers.
Right. Were we when we were at the carriage? Was that like right next to wherever the rest of the quartermaster stuff is?
You were in the quartermaster's tent where he had the majority of things. Yes.
Could we see like the spirit vials there?
It would have been obvious behind lock and key. Yes. Like there was a number of items that were behind sort of there would have been an area specifically for anything of a spectral nature or an occult nature, and it would have been protected in some way.
Okay. So while Ari was like distracting him, making a ruckus, I would have basically said, "All right, let me just fill out this paperwork for you." And try going over to his desk right next to the cabinet in which they were stored. And then just basically leaving her alone with him, making it very difficult for him to pay attention to anything else. And with her distraction, I would.
Who played the quartermaster? Was that me?
No, it was me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't the point where a character that really required some gravitas, I mean, if you'd like to now, or you could. I got it. All right.
I'm also trying to remember if Hocus was there at that.
He was not.
Okay.
No, I don't believe Hocus there. But no, what I was going to suggest is while Sky is doing his thing, if you really want to insert yourself in the scene, I believe that you can play Ari in this case.
Oh, look at that! Madame Gandalf's here. She's taking over.
I would, but I don't have any lipstick. All I have is Carmex, and that's not good enough.
Fair enough. All right. So
See how it is.
Ari is distracting. So give me just a second to look at your character sheet, Sky, because I am actually going to have you do two things here. Mm-hmm. This is not a life or death situation, so from a stress level, because it's a flashback, I definitely want you to take one, but not more than one.
Okay.
But I want you to roll it in some way. The way that what you're describing, there needs to be a little bit of fate involved in here, whether it's a skill kind of a check or an action roll or a fortune roll in this circumstance. Now, you have one in finesse, which would be the default one, given how sleight of hand or very, delicate this kind of operation would be. Although a fortune roll makes a lot more sense, given that there are a number of factors that could build a positive pool for you, and that would probably give you a larger pool than just rolling your finesse or even potentially even consort, which I think might be the only other action that may even kind of sort of apply here.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't get anything for prowl, right? That
so prowl is,
but it's not really. It doesn't really.
It's more physical obstacles, right? It's like if you were to, you were running an obstacle course, you were doing, some parkour, or you were in a physical fight and you were trying to move through a crowd very quickly, that kind of a thing. Okay. Finesse is more sleight of hand stuff, or nefarious activities that are all about subterfuge.
Okay, I'll go ahead and make it a fortune roll, I suppose.
Okay, so 1 die for sure luck, 1 die for the distraction that is Ari. What else is playing in your favor, guys?
Love.
Damn it.
You got beautiful eyes, Mr. Quartermaster. Yes. I'd absolutely love to ride you like a rocking horse.
I'm gonna clip that, please. Okay, so 4 dice because of the wonderful acting by Trendane.
It was your idea for me to play Ari.
Oh, I thought that was wonderful. Anything else playing in your favor, guys?
Things have calmed down pretty significantly. It's just the quartermaster here. There's not really any imminent threat. They're not on high alert.
Okay.
It's possible even, I mean, there's a chance, if fortune holds, that the key is just sitting on the desk.
There is that chance as well. So let's call that 5 dice, and you're positive. Hold on. Let's talk about negatives real quick. It is behind some sort of locked circumstance. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be a negative, so that's going to be 4 dice. Is there anything else negative-wise that might be playing in favor here, or might be going against you guys?
I don't know if it's impacting this direct action, but if they have like a log of things that they have, kept.
Usurped.
You mean like a ledger?
Yeah, a ledger of some kind. Then they might notice when it's gone. But I don't know if that.
Right, but that won't have any direct. So they're going to notice when the carriage is gone too, eventually, right? That's not going to have any direct impact on this situation.
No.
What do you mean no?
Well, because the whole reason we were there was because she had gone to get Grin, the blue coat, and bring him, and got picked up Speedy, the Imperial officer. They came in with the falsified documents that said that is my carriage that was stolen, and I want it and my goats back.
Right.
And she was blubbering and snot everywhere. So I'm sure some snot probably got on the ledger and smeared out the.
So you're saying that nobody would eventually figure out that was ever what actually, that there was something wrong with that particular situation?
I'm just saying it was a very convincing argument.
It's not like there's another real owner to the carriage who's actually going to be claiming it.
And there was a lot of snot. He was very distracted.
There was a lot. And who's going to come between a woman and her goats? I mean, who even would want to breach that?
Roll your fucking 4 die. I'm tired of this conversation right now. Roll your goddamn 4 die.
Is it 4 dice total or 4 bonus dice?
4 dice total.
Did we get the 1 for love?
Yes, you did get the 1 for love. Shut up.
You. Just asking, just checking.
Yeah.
6.
Oh, shit. Okay, so the conversation going on in the background, Ari's blubbering. Really, the distraction is there. It is working out incredibly well, such that you were able to slip back. Yes, the key is just right near on a hook. You were able to kind of insert yourself into this back area that's kind of blocked off with a sort of like a temporary structure. It's a temporary cage structure, and so you kind of open the thing, and there, obviously sitting close to the top of the pile of items there, is the exact case with all 12 vials. The paperwork has been inserted inside of the case and folded so that whatever the documentation that's associated with those objects is there, right? Because it was the paperwork and the 12 vials that were found in that case that I believe it was Ari and Sling and Jinx that found it at the time. And so you were able to just kind of slip it into a case and then kind of walk out. And the rest of the scene kind of progresses as you remember it before.
Nice.
And now you've completed a flashback and returned. You've got those 12 items. Now, given all of that,
Hey Moon.
Also, I think that should cost you a downtime action.
I'm fine with that.
Just because it's a pretty significant bonus to everything that happens here. Mm-hmm. I mean, and because of how easy it was, I think there at least needs to be that little bit of a tangible cost. But I am going to say, go ahead and remove the stress.
Okay.
The 1 stress that I gave you, because it makes more sense that it's a downtime action for your flashback.
Okay.
All right. Excellent. So, context shift back to Sling.
Hello.
All right. You take your second action.
With my second action, I'd like to go and have a few words with my good friend and amigo, Hocus.
Hocus is in the railjack car near one of the tables. He's got his lightning hook on the table, and he's working on both the extenders and some of the various mechanical bits on it, just kind of doing general maintenance, but he's got his back to the rest of the room, just sitting there working on it.
Sling probably stands there for like a good at least 5 minutes watching. Yusuf.
And suddenly, any papers or tools that are on the tabletop go flying as he whirls around, compacts the thing, and it just lights up. He's got it up in front of him, and even through the mask, you can see that his eyes are wide. And he's just backed up against what is now the toppled table.
It's just me.
You cannot know that name.
I heard it.
You heard it where?
I think you know.
And he's just like, you can see tears dropping from behind the mask onto the cloth and beginning to soak the top of his robes. And he is just almost like he's trying to crawl up onto the table, but it's upended next to him. He's like just moving back towards the wall and just, no, that name is gone. You cannot know that name.
The name may be gone, but whoever spoke it is not. And you know that.
And why do you speak it now?
Because I need your help. I wouldn't be here if I didn't.
With what?
Do you remember, Hocus, when we were at the well before and you told us everything? And you said how you've lived through 1,000 lifetimes when what happened to you happened. Well, I lived through one. Just one on repeat over and over again and it still is inside of me, and I saw a family. I saw a husband, I saw a daughter, my daughter Esther. I watched her grow, I watched her live in the light, and I saw what that bastard did to her. Over and over again. Watched her grow, helped her grow, saw her torn apart and killed in the most brutal way that a mother could watch her daughter go. I know I'm not the same as I was before this happened, and I know it would be easier and better if what happened stayed in the past and wasn't a part of me no more, but that's not how it is, because it's here and it's with me and it's crying out and it needs revenge, Hocus. I've never felt nothing like the hunger that it has to see this bastard brought down. And I know how to do it, but I need your help.
And at the mention of the need of revenge and the description of that, the white knuckle just clenched tightly enough to make the wood of the staff creak as though it's about to splinter. As soon as he hears that, there's a sense of familiarity, not necessarily kinship, but familiar purpose. And the whiteness of the knuckles fades back to his normal dark Eruvian skin. I know this hunger. I have known this hunger for 1,000 years. What do you need from me?
this. She'll pull out one of the horns.
Teeth.
One of the teeth. Why don't I say horns? One of the teeth. I need to change this. This Leviathan tooth, it can become, as I'm sure you may already know, something very powerful against the very things that we seek to destroy. If I can turn these into bullets, I can feed that hunger and maybe be free of this.
Bullets?
Bullets.
I need to think. This is not like trying to forge a blade. This is not hammer and anvil kind of work. This is a deeper.
I wouldn't be asking you if I didn't think that you could do it, Hocus. A blade's all well and good, but I mean, I'm not really one for upfront fighting. Last time I did that, kind of got stabbed in the neck.
I do not have the normal tools to fashion something like this, but I think I can use some of my more unusual training to possibly produce something that will work. Could you please go to that case over there? You will find 2 of my filled spirit vials in them. Bring one to me, please.
You want it, boss? She'll go and get one. Hand it over.
I would like to merge one of my downtime actions in with this.
Okay, that works.
And so, using the modified, because remember he had changed the spirit vial slightly so that he can either set it to retain the spirit whole or puree it into a very crude electroplasm. And this is one of the ones that doesn't have any people left in it. It's just energy. And so he's going to take some of the spare cabling that he was using to do some repair work on the lightning hook and feed it through a silver tipped quill. And he reaches out for the thank you, yeah, tooth thing. And piping the energy very slowly through the quill, he begins to shave chunks of it off and slowly whittle them into a general bullet shape, and working very, very closely, carving what runes he knows from his training as an occultist into the sides of the bullet to give the infusion of essence a greater sense of permanence. And he will probably be meditating while he's doing this, so it's going to take a little while.
Okay. So for Sling, I want there to be either a roll of some kind, whether it's an action roll or a fortune roll, in respect to the general nature of what he's producing for you. So, like the how much he's able to actually produce in some way, shape, or form. You know, like the amount of resource essentially you're going to get, and then what I want from Hocus is I want Hocus to roll a tune. Because typically this would be a tinker kind of a thing, but because this is so focused on spectral energy and the infusion of that into, you know, essentially these tooth bullets, that will determine the quality. Essentially their deadly nature.
Could I do a finesse roll with the finesse I used to do the actions that I did?
Sure. If you want to use that instead, I'll let you do that.
Brilliant. Do I need to do anything of positions or
just roll it straight up? And if you want to push yourself or take a bonus die for a devil's bargain, you are more than welcome to do that too.
Can I hear what the devil's bargain would be?
So the ultimate desire for you is to use these bullets against chaos. Is that correct?
Yes. And while I'm at it, Hocus's demon as well would be nice.
Okay. While they may be effective in eliminating these, you don't. This is a little brutal, but you don't know what kind of consequence it's going to have on Sling or Esther. And I mean, there is the act of killing a demon should be significant. It should be very different, right? And that's the expectation that you're having. So there may be some tangible side effect to it, like when the demon dies, there is an explosion. But it's not a physical explosion. It's more like an explosion of spectral energy, and maybe that has some side effect on Sling. And we can talk about that from a narrative perspective. When it happens, and it may be different for each demon, because I in my head they all seem to be unique in some significant way. But there's some net side effect that always happens, and it may not necessarily be negative depending upon the context, but there's always a consequence to killing a demon with these bullets.
You know what? Let's do it.
All right. You guys love devil's bargains. I love it.
Yes, that's good. I'll do that. Okay, sick. And that's a 6.
Oh shit. Okay. So
what up? Give me them bullets.
You're using them for your rifle or for your pistols?
My rifle.
Okay. Then you get 6 rifle bullets. All right. Now it's time for Hocus to determine based on either he can. I'm going to say attunement. Of course, the quality can be just attunement, or it can be a force roll if you'd like. I think attunement makes a lot more sense in this case. But given the fact that it was a if or, a kind of if and or if or kind of a situation with Sling, I'm going to give you the option to do the same thing.
I'll take it too.
Okay.
Position effect, both just straight up. Now, given the fact that Esther is standing beside me, imparting her knowledge of saying, now you need to do this.
Yes. So there's definitely a bonus die here in respect to that.
Okay. Then here we go. Watch how shitty this is going to be. Oh! 6.
Oh, wow.
That's another 6.
The only thing that would have been better is a crit. But the effect, so in respect to equality, the effect is going to be significant enough that I'm going to actually let Sling determine the results. I'm gonna let Luis determine the results of what actually happens in this situation, because we both rolled 6. It's both an incredibly positive set of rolls. So you get the 6 bullets. When it happens, you can narrate for us essentially the circumstances of how that all ends up as a result. So be creative when it happens.
Oh wait, when I shoot the gun, I can decide.
When you shoot, exactly. You can determine what the devil's bargain is.
Oh, that's exciting.
So it could be a negative or it could be a positive.
Ooh.
But there will always be a consequence. There is always some consequence, and it doesn't necessarily have to be necessarily against you, but there always will be a consequence of some kind. Are we good with that?
Yes.
Okay. Please note that down on paper or on your character sheet. Okay, guys. So that sounds like that's 2 Sling's downtime actions, and one of Hocus's. Do we want to do a second one of Hocus's to complete that? Or sorry, Sling, did you want to do another downtime action via rep or coin?
I'm good.
Okay. Hocus, do you have a second downtime action that you'd like to complete?
I thought so. Getting rid of harm, we go to a physiker, right?
You go to a physiker, that is correct.
That's what I'll do.
Okay. All right. And it's not a coin or anything. It's just you just go ahead and roll. There's a button, I believe, treatment on your character sheet, and that progresses the clock. Do you see it? It's right next to the progress clock that's on your character sheet. Hold on, let me look.
Healing right above it.
Yeah.
That's an actual thing. Okay.
It's healing. It's not treatment. It's healing. So okay, right on.
That would be why I didn't see it. All right. So I will roll that. Watch how shitty this is. Number of dice 0.
Number of additional dice, 0.
5.
That's 2. You're almost completely healed from that shock.
Okay.
All right, excellent.
Wait, that's 2?
Yeah,
I only have
it's two segments.
Well, I only have one segment.
It's supposed to progress. So when you fill it in like this, like you see me on your character sheet.
Oh, so it's the other way around, the opposite of. Oh, I see. It's okay. Just like never mind.
It's a fill. Yeah, it's filled in. Absolutely.
Fill in the thing, doohickey.
That is correct. All right, great.
Okay.
Do you want to push yourself or take another downtime or coin for another downtime action?
I think I could probably afford to spend a coin to finish that off.
Okay. Well, then just finish it off because your next visit to a physiker would just would remove it.
So then we'll zero that.
You don't have to spend a coin because I have an ability that lets us use 1 extra. So I'll just let you.
Oh, okay. All right. So I will get rid of this and.
Excellent.
Focus is fine. Yay.
Sweet. So
then I'm done.
Okay. I'm going to jump back to Jinx real quick. And are you ready to do your second downtime action?
Yes.
Excellent. What is the plan, sir?
The plan is to start a clock called to the effect of Jinx goes to jail. And
that seems like a pretty easy thing to do, honestly.
Yeah.
Mr. Garfer goes to jail.
There's going to jail, and there's going to jail smart. And what Jinx is actually going to do is research alongside their Iron Hook asset. He wants to make sure that there are tools and supplies in place inside the facility that Jinx will have access to when the time comes, and that perhaps the asset has people he trusts. The asset has assets, so that once Jinx walks in that door, potentially as his old alter ego Grin, who is accused of shooting Bowerstone. So if he sticks his hand up in the air and says, "Oh, hi, my name is Grin. Please arrest me." He wants to make sure that if he goes to Iron Hook, that he is protected to a level. He's not going in as Jinx because that, I think, would shine too bright a light on him. Okay. So he's basically prepping to go to jail, and I think that warrants a clock.
Okay. So are you expecting to go to jail as your next score?
That's a question.
Because if you are, then that will change. Well, it'll change the length of the clock, but it'll also talk about the hurried nature of some of the preparations.
Right.
As an alternative,
Yeah.
you could treat this well.
Another alternative is our cohorts get a downtime action too.
That could also work in your favor. Absolutely.
We could have our asset, our prison warden or whoever it is, be doing this downtime action to prep prison so that they're ready for you and won't treat you.
Well, they're not. That's not technically your cohort, right? That's just an asset that you need to develop into a cohort.
No, see, we were spending points to get a cohort, and in order to make it work narratively or to determine the quality of it, you had us roll for an asset first.
That's right. Okay, you're right. All right, you're absolutely right. Okay, let's do that. So you'll start the clock. We're going to call it a 6-segment clock because okay, let's take a step back. Based on your description, it sounded like there was a fair amount of setup going into it. Can you go into a couple of things that you think you might want walking in the door, and from that we'll determine whether it's a 4 or 6 progress clock.
Oh boy!
Because if it's a fairly complicated setup, then yes, 6 makes sense. If it's not a fairly complicated setup, if it's just an escape route and maybe having a blade in there for you at the time, that seems like a much simpler thing for the cohort to be able to help arrange for you, and that would be like a 4-segment progress clock.
Oh boy, I get. Let me think. Because going in, the first thing that Jinx is going to want is to be able to have access to Samandra. He wants a private conversation with Samandra. He wants a private conversation with Ulf. He wants to at least scope Muscles, whether he approaches him or not. He is going to want the means, depending on who he chooses to escape with, whatever that out is. So it's a conversation with their asset to determine the easiest way to get out and when that will be. And I'm having a hard time thinking what that would be.
Okay, so that does sound like it's going to be 6. Because
okay.
I mean, there's a fair amount of interaction that has to happen in prison, and what you'd be doing is setting up the ability to do just that.
Yeah,
those actual events will still happen in prison, and we can treat some of those as flashbacks and just have the escape be the actual ultimate part of the score.
Perfect. Okay.
Great. So, all right. So with a 6-segment progress clock starting, how do you want to move through that first part before the cohort rolls for the second half of it? Like, what is the actual act of setting it up? What is that going to do? Or what does that look like?
The actual act of setting it up is Jinx meeting with the asset.
Okay.
Getting the asset perhaps to come to Jinx. We've abandoned Kellen's, and I'm not sure I'd want an asset coming to our train. Where are we stationing our train right now?
I believe it's you guys said that it was in the rail yard?
It's in the rail yard. Okay.
So the Gaddock rail yard.
Okay. Well, let me think. I'm trying to think of somewhere nice and neutral where I could meet an asset like this at. What's just outside Iron Hook? That's
Coleridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about Jinx and this asset just they grab a pint at one of the drinking dens in Coleridge?
Okay.
Especially since that used to be a Skog town.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Absolutely. And so given that you're actually working with the asset, it seems to me that you're in some sort of a directing capacity. So why don't we call command as your action skill that you're going to roll?
Please.
Okay. So like with any long-term progress clock, go ahead and it's, don't worry about the position or effect.
Okay.
And then it really comes down to bonus die.
Okay.
Wait, so we're having this rolled by Jinx, not by the asset?
So he's going to roll you have essentially 2 downtime actions to make sure that it's going to get filled, right? Mm-hmm. And with the complexity of what he's describing that he wants done, it's a 6-segment clock. So there's no actual way, even if he critted, that he could ever actually complete the entire clock right now.
Got it.
That's what the determination is.
Okay.
So he's going to basically meet with the asset, use command to start that process, right? And then the ultimate result will get to, the ultimate effect of all of that will be the second roll by the asset itself, or the cohort. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. All right, go ahead. Oh wait, so did you want to push yourself or take a devil's bargain?
I will do the first. I'll do the first, and I'll hear the second.
Okay. All right. So, the devil's bargain is this. Ultimately, whatever happens with Samandra, your relationship will never be the same.
Okay.
Wow.
Bitch, he don't love you.
Your relationship with the other one was also already ruined?
It could never be the same, as in it's so much better.
I know.
I was just going to say that there might be a positive in some way, shape, or form.
You came to prison for me?
Let me go through the rationale of this. Though Jinx doesn't know the full extent of it, he has the sense he's fucked things up royally with Mercy. Samandra, his priority, get her out. He doesn't care if she hates his guts. He has to still get her out. So that's why he would take it. That's why I'm taking this devil's bargain, because he doesn't care. He needs to get her out. So that's 2 bonus dice.
Did you just roll an actual D6 right there?
No.
That's what it sounded like.
That was my pencil. That was my lucky pencil.
I was like, wait a minute. Are you so excited that you're actually rolling physical dice? That's awesome.
No. I'd love to, but I won't. Don't screw me, roll 20. Don't screw me.
All right, let's see what happens with this roll.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice. Okay.
So you meet with this asset or this cohort, and half your clock is already completed because you outline a very detailed set of circumstances with which you need things to be set up inside of prison. With all of that being set up, the asset just continues to document and it starts making suggestions and starts inserting himself into the plan a little bit, letting you know, well, no, you don't want to do this, but you want to do that. And so it goes exceptionally well. And when the cohort finally leaves the meeting, he leaves with a wink and a nod and say, I'll see you soon.
Okay, great. I'm glad I took that devil's bargain.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is the first half. So now the second half is the cohort actually executing on all of Jinx's requirements. Do you want to roll that, Speedy? Since that was his second. Oh, well, so actually, let me step back and say, Jinx, do you want to take another downtime action for coin or rep?
No.
Okay. You can change your mind before we get out of downtime. I'm gonna leave you with that. Okay. So you're gonna start with that with the cohort?
Yeah. So the cohort is based on our roll with it before, because we crit and then added another 2 coin to it. It would be quality 6.
Okay.
Which I believe means we roll 6 total dice.
So that was when it was an asset. When it's a cohort, it actually rolls your tier level. That's why I was looking for clarification. Because you had a new upgrade for cohort. That's the one use of the ability with the asset is that's its quality level. That's your dice pool.
Okay.
Right? When it goes to tier level,
permanent, it's like slightly worse.
Well, I'm inclined to give you the difference because you guys spent coin on it at that point. Mm-hmm. So in this one case, in this one first use, 6 dice. Every other use after that is going to be, as a cohort, will be your tier level. Okay? Is everybody good with that? Okay, Let's do that then.
Okay, so it's tier plus 3 then for 6 dice.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
All right.
Did you roll it?
Get into it.
What? 4.
What a time for Roll20 to screw you guys.
Had a feeling it was coming.
Yeah, I did too. I was kind of hoping it was going to come more inside of the score itself.
Fine.
Okay, So your cohort notifies you that most of the work is set up, but a couple of moving parts are still in play. The next time anybody commits downtime action against this, it will just complete.
Cool.
All right.
I would like to spend a coin.
Well, let's give Speedy an opportunity to do his downtime actions first, because he may, depending upon what he chooses, he might actually complete it for you, right? Okay. Because anybody can help complete a downtime project, a long-term project. All right, Speedy, what would Sky like to do for his first downtime action?
I would like to work on a little clock called Seeking Red.
Okay.
If you could remind me what the last bit of information I got from that was. I don't quite recall.
That they were most commonly seen hanging out in Barrowcleft.
That they were most commonly seen hanging out in Barrowcleft. Let me ask you this question before you start doing that, because something happened on the Shroud last night.
Mm-hmm.
Do you consult your rooks?
Yes.
Okay. Your rooks will deliver this piece of information for you. Actually, two pieces of information. The first is that while the exact date is not known yet, the complete lockdown of Crowsfoot is about to be lifted, and that it will happen before the Lightning Barrier ceremony and the lifting of martial law. Mm-hmm. The second bit of information is that the individuals in Barrowcleft who appear to have the Geis or wear the symbols or the garb, essentially, that's associated with the Red Dwarf and the Willowy Woman, they are being seen more and more inside of Barrowcleft at the markets every day.
Okay.
So those two bits of information were delivered to the Shroud last night from their Rook network, so you would get the same thing.
Got it. Okay, that's there wasn't a bombshell dropped there, and that's
but it affects this progress clock.
Okay. So knowing that they are in Barrowcleft, I would probably. Is it like a lot of them? I was under the impression there weren't like a ton of them to begin with.
There were not a ton that you knew of, right? But from your awareness, from what you were told, is that they were often spotted in Barrowcleft.
Okay.
Right. The fact that they are being seen on a regular basis, and by a regular basis I mean on a daily basis, is significant to anybody who's paying attention.
Okay. I'd like to go to Barrowcleft then and essentially just try to follow some of these people in red, see where they're coming from, try and get a better feel. First, get a better feel of the area in general, as to like why they might be coming out, what they're doing at the shops here, and then try and track one back to where it's kind of staying.
Okay, so do you want to execute that as a prowl or even a survey, or do you want to command your rooks to do that? And because they might be more skilled in actually accomplishing that.
Well, the thing is, the rooks are vice dealers. I
thought you guys acquired. I thought you acquired a second. Oh, it was the Scavs. But they were a gang, right?
Yeah.
Right, they're a gang. Okay. All right. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Okay.
And Sky is. This is the kind of situation where Sky is kind of wants to be personally involved in this, because there's something greater going on here than just, information about smuggling. This is serious stuff.
Okay, so with that in mind, then that sounds to me like if you want to go past unseen and track, then that sounds like prowl.
Yep.
Okay, so no position, no effect on that. Do you want to push yourself or take a devil's bargain?
I'll push myself.
Okay.
Fine.
It's okay. The devil's bargain's really good too.
Okay. Let me hear it.
Okay. You'll get noticed too.
not that bad. No,
Are you sure that it's not that bad?
No.
Because I didn't say who would notice you.
It's true. You didn't.
Take
I'm
it.
gonna
Take
What?
it.
No, go ahead. It's okay. You don't have to. So go ahead and roll. Oh shit! Why did I show you character?
You showed me.
I don't know why I showed the character sheet. I was looking at your character sheet and I hit the wrong button. My bad.
Screwed. I'm taking the devil's bargain.
Okay, fair enough.
Good call.
Good call. Right? You did good, Sky. You did good. All right, guys. So advancing.
What do we have
times? Here? Okay. Now, your first question was more about Borrowcleft. And then your second question was more about the individuals who wear the essentially the symbology or the garb of the Red Dwarf and the Willowy One. Borrowcleft is the only district in Duskfall that doesn't have a crime problem. In fact, it is governed in such a way that it's almost like not a commune, but there is more benefit, there is more camaraderie, there is more sharing. It is a place, it is an isolated place of good in all of Duskfall. While it is still subject to the local political government, they still have an alderman. The alderman still answers to the Council of Six. The Bluecoats are still supposedly, involved in the peacekeeping in the area. All of that really does never come into play when justice needs to be served in Borrowcleft. And in fact, people don't go hungry. There are no beggars. It is a place where it's almost an autonomous zone of good inside of Duskfall. And part of the reason that is, and it's allowed to do that, and there's not corruption, is because Borrowcleft are the actual people who work in the radiant energy farms, in the eelries, and they produce the food, and they provide the sustenance, and they take care of the needs for the majority of Duskfall. So they're allowed a lot of leeway, and for some reason in that leeway, the autonomy that they have and the peacekeeping that they have is unheard of, and it's incredibly significant. So you stepping in, you're noticed. People are aware of the circumstances of you being there, of you kind of inserting yourself and paying attention and just kind of looking around. But it's not like they approach you as if it's a negative. You just know that your presence is known and being watched. But again, it's a situation where you don't see anybody stealing. There's a large marketplace there. It's a produce marketplace, and there are other goods that are being, other trade goods that are being produced there in order for people to sustain themselves and do their job, and go and work in the radiant energy fields for the most part. But you don't see any of the normal things. You don't see a shakedown of crime. You don't see anybody, extorting money or, offering a protection racket. And the Bluecoats that do walk through, they're friendly. They're personable. They seem their demeanor is less stressed. They're very relaxed.
Howdy, boys.
So all of this begins to, and you've heard the rumors, at, a pub or a bar or, any place that this is actually happening. But to see it firsthand, you walk by a tavern, or a pub that's kind of off to the side, and you walk by and there's frivolity and there's no fighting and nobody appears to be drunk. Again, completely unusual. And you're not there for more than an hour before you pick up the trail of one of these individuals kind of wandering through, and they're wandering through with essentially a basket, and they're going and acquiring various items from the market, buying various items. And some, when one of these individuals approach, some of the marketplace folk, some of the shop owners refuse money. They refuse being paid coin for the goods. That also strikes you as interesting. And so as you're kind of beginning to track this person and they're moving through, you see things that are completely alien to you. Like these are concepts that just that stand out because they're so significant and different than everything you've ever experienced. There's so much, for lack of a better word, goodwill going on here. But so as you're kind of tracking this person, and I'm going to pull up the map a little bit, and then I'm going to zoom in on Barrowclough. You might want to zoom in as well from where I'm pinging. Here, let me make sure I can zoom in here. All right, maybe I can. There we go. Right there. So I'm going to ping on the map.
You haven't brought us over on my.
I did, didn't I?
No. For us.
Oh, sorry, guys. Right there.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. So the marketplace that I'm talking about is actually right here. That's the center of commerce in Barrowclough, and the rest of them are either craft stalls or tenements, right? But so when you're able to track this particular person, you track them back to a building right here, very close to the lightning barrier, very close to the canal's edge. So while there's not a lot of traffic and activity there, it's kind of a corner. You're close enough to the lightning barrier again for it to be loud and making its noise, and you can hear the water kind of flowing, very fast as it flows into the void sea. And as you're tracking this particular person to this building, the building is nondescript. There's nothing significant about it, but it looks like an apartment building, for lack of a better description. It's a 2-story affair with what you'd assume was housing for the various workers that go off into the radiant energy farms. But there's not any activity on the outside because the windows are all kind of blacked out. There's covers for everything, so you can barely see a light. Maybe there's a crack of light that's kind of shining through. But you hear a fair amount of noise and activity. And when you look at the surrounding area, while the buildings are occupied, it's clear that there are people that work, that live there in those buildings. There's no... It almost feels fake that something's being set up as a distraction, that it's not actually what's real, right? And so as you get closer and closer and you start to listen in, you hear that there's talk going on among the individuals inside of the building, right? And the conversations are at first of just the nature of the day, doing the little things, the chores that need to be happening, the work that needs to be done. But there is talk about the coming conflict and the coming operation. And there are expressed concerns about the lightning tower going up and, what activity that might draw, at that event, or, concerns over the circumstances of the election in Crowsfoot. And these events the fact that these are being talked about strikes you as odd, given everything that you know about what the Willy Woman and the Red Dwarf were talking about in front of you, until you hear the gruff voice of the Red Dwarf come up and say, I wouldn't worry about any of those events. It's Onkart Park that we're concerned about. And at that, your sheer shock, you mistakenly leave yourself exposed as the door begins to open as people are starting to come out. And so you were able to scramble back in and kind of hide off to the side. But you realize that you're not going to get any more because there's a shift of some kind. There's some sort of guard or something that's that's happening, that's shifting. And so you're able to kind of slink away. But as you're slinking away, you notice that you're being tailed. But you're able to lose them as you cross the bridge from Barrowclough.
Goatchella. Something's gonna be going down.
Yeah, lots of bands, good food, wine. Yeah.
Johnny,
I believe Raymond Bowerstone is going to be
Duskfall.
What did I say? What? I didn't do it. I don't know what you're talking about.
The people of Duskfall have waited many, many months for this event.
Well, you know what? Maybe it's in celebration of the re-erecting of the ghost, or the lightning barrier tower.
No, nobody actually gave a shit about that.
Oh, I know they didn't because it never happened. All right.
No, anyways, guys, it's just nobody cared because it's like, okay, it's an interruption of pattern. Is the problem? It's like there's a tower and tower and tower, and all of a sudden there's no tower. They're like, it looks like crap. Go ahead and put another tower there. So it goes back there.
Down everywhere.
Right. Okay, Sky. What would you like to do next with your second downtime action?
I kind of want to finish that clock.
I'm gonna pee myself a little bit.
Okay. So you found a fair bit of information. You know a general location for where there's some activity, and you've heard the voice of the Red Dwarf there.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to do next?
Oh, God. So to be clear, what is
No. We're gonna obscure
entail?
this. I'm sorry. What?
What does finishing this clock entail?
You wanted to find more. You wanted to find more information about where these people were from, right? You wanted more details about them, right?
Okay. Yes.
So you're getting that. You now have their location.
Mm-hmm.
You now have another sighting of the Red Dwarf, although you didn't actually see him. You heard him. You do know that the people of the people that are have sworn fealty to him or working for him or whatever, and sworn fealty to him is exactly what's happened, right? They're loyal to him in some significant way. Mm-hmm. That their presence is heavy in Barrowcliff, and you were able to track them, and that there's a lot of goodwill that they are instilling, so much so that they're being given items for free.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you've learned a fair bit about the character and the location of these particular individuals.
Question: could I have attuned to the ghost field while there and seen, just if like the regular people working for him had anything special about them?
Given the fact that you rolled a 6, I'm just going to give you that piece of information.
Mm-hmm.
While they all had the normal blue, the spectral energy blue, mm-hmm. The 2 individuals that stepped outside when you had to sneak around and basically hide yourself, you noticed that there was a faint glow of gold that surrounded their blue.
Got it. Like a raid.
Yeah, you can talk about the raid. It's okay. It's a good breaking point. You can say that.
Dude, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna? Does anyone have any ideas?
So the question that I would ask to you before you brought it to the table is, what do you ultimately want from completing this? Do you want another conversation with the Willowy Woman or the Red Dwarf? She already told you that you would see her again. So that she pretty much guaranteed that at some point she will run into you, right? Or at least from a meta perspective, that was kind of implied.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it that you ultimately want from completing this?
I just want to know. I want to know what they are and their entire purpose here.
Oh yeah, you're not gonna get that from this, man. I'm sorry, you are definitely not gonna get that.
That was
no. So you said
You
seeking
rolled a
red.
6.
He rolled. I'm not going to reveal all the details based on the 6. He just got a significant amount of information from that. That if that is your ultimate goal, mm-hmm. then this is definitely a series of long-term projects that are linked, right?
Okay.
Because and it's been alluded to. There's a lot more backstory. There's a lot more going on than just what's been presented to you in respect to who the Red Dwarf and the Willowy Woman are, who the who Chaos is, and what Mother May has to do with it. Right? There's so much that's been implied. You're not going to figure out what they mean by, once again, will be 26 unless you were to ask them directly and get them to actually answer you. Right? There's a significant amount of. So What's the next logical stepping stone for you as Sky in the knowledge to get to that particular element, to get to that conversation? Or maybe it's broker that conversation, or maybe it's we'll see you at Onkyat Park, or whatever that is, right?
I think right now Sky's concern is what is going to be happening at Onkyat Park. What is their intention? What are their intentions there? What are their concerns there? So I would first try to find out if any of them had been I want to say if any of them had been staking out Onkyat Park, but I don't know if actually finding them would help at all.
I mean, this is the point where opening up to the table I think makes a lot of sense too.
Yeah.
We did pass through there.
We did.
You did. You did pass through there, but when you left, ironically, you left this direction, right? I'm pinging it on the map right now. So you didn't actually pass in that direction. You did pass through Onkyat Park though, because you went this way.
That's what I mean. We passed through Onkyat Park.
Right. So, but what is that? Right. But the value of that is it was happened relatively a couple of weeks ago in game time. What is that? What can you gain from that information?
Well, between the two times that we went there, one was on our way out,
And then
after escaping from the thing, and then the other was following Goat because he ran to the park and right up to the incline down to the water.
That's correct.
Took off, and then we had to run around the other way. Between those two periods of time, any changes that we might have, this would be partially a flashback, but any changes that would have been, if there were people staking out the park, we might well have seen them there on both occasions. Now with Coachella coming up here pretty soon, there are probably people there who are building a stadium, not a stadium, but like a stage,
a festival setting, basically.
Yes, exactly. And so if there are still people, the same people who are there, the third time we pass through, or Sky passes through on his way back, then could lead to a little bit more of this person has been here all three times we've come through, and maybe a little more information as to who is staking out the park.
Yeah.
So you want to find out if there's people staking out the park, basically.
Yeah.
As to get an awareness of what their intent is.
Mm-hmm.
There are also the Eruvian horse masters are there. I'm sure that being an Eruvian, Sky could strike up a conversation and say, so aside from Coachella, and these beautiful animals here, what else is it? Because I don't get much time to spend over here. What else can you tell me about Onkyat Park?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, pretty much. I think, after leaving the other thing, just passing through Onkyat Park first, trying to get a scope of it, and then possibly asking around, see if anyone has seen people in red and such.
Okay, so I guess that's another prowl, or maybe a survey, right?
I think prowl works fine.
Well, if you're being seen...
Consort if I'm trying to talk to people.
Consort is typically people that you have. Well,
we're sponsoring the event.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Okay, let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
You gonna push yourself and take a bonus die, or take a devil's bargain?
No, but
sure you want to. You want to.
At least hear it.
Fine. What's the devil's bargain?
Wow, I'm actually having a hard time with this one. Does anybody else have any ideas what I think about this?
We get everything we want.
That's not a consequence.
I like it. I'll take it.
It's not a negative consequence.
Doesn't have to be a negative consequence.
Oh, I got it.
You've been noticed.
I got it.
Oh my god, that Sky dude is really hot.
He gets noticed, right? And then he gets scouted for Coachella. Then he has to perform.
A
one-man band, and then that's the consequence that Speedy has to write and perform a song live on stream. There we go, sorted.
I got it.
See,
okay.
It's perfect.
So the consequence is, and I hope Louise likes this one. The consequence is the concert, the event of Coachella is such a wonderful, hippy dippy peacenik kind of a thing. It basically becomes a love-in, and it becomes incredibly distracting for anybody who's actually there trying to commit work. Like you are not like it has a physical mechanical effect of it makes roles more difficult.
All right, sure. Why not?
Okay, so let's be clear here. It will limit the effect, or it will increase the difficulty in respect to the position.
Is that for every roll that we make?
Yes.
Okay, maybe
Some
not.
positions are pretty tough anyway. Trust me.
What if we do
know.
it just outside of Coachella?
All right, I'll give you another one. Ultimately, the individuals who noticed Sky during his previous excursion to Barrowcleft will detain him while Coachella is actually happening.
Also fun, but I'm going to pass on
But-
this one.
I think it's a good idea that you do. Again, I was having difficulty with this one, but I figured
Right.
I'd offer something anyways.
That's fine. Can I get a bonus die because we are sponsoring this event?
No.
Okay.
No.
What about bonus die for love?
No.
Bonus die for
I offered you
Sling is
11
not
and you
there.
didn't take it.
That's
4.
true.
That's enough to
bonus
finish
die
the
for
clock still, right?
lions?
That is still enough to finish the clock.
Lions?
Okay, so it's interesting because this particular element of the clock, let me go back to the clock screen, had nothing to do with the park. But since you wanted the park, here's what actually happens. The willowy woman is actually seen there talking to the Eruvian horse masters. And her concerns, because she looks incredibly concerned, is as she's speaking to the horse masters, she's motioning to the horses, and you get a snippet of conversation as you're able to get close, that she wants to make sure the animals are safe, and that that in any circumstance that they are evacuated immediately. She fears that the event may get out of control, and she emphasizes the word out, or the phrase out of control, and says that she doesn't want any animals or any, she wants to take much care to be taken around making sure that the park and its natural habitat, its resources are maintained when the event is going on. So you're getting the impression that she's concerned that there is actually going to be some conflict, that there might be some, to the point where it's actually going to cause physical damage to the ground, the trees, the animals in the area, and specifically the horses. And this gives you pause.
It does.
And so as you're kind of listening into this conversation and hearing it happen, you get a chance to ponder as she begins to move off. You get a chance to assess the actual festival grounds themselves, where the stage is being erected and everything else. And there's something really odd and peculiar about it. Because while the stage is at essentially the front of this venue, the positioning of certain other items strike you as odd. Like there are poles positioned in really odd ways around that are going to bear these incredibly large light sources to kind of help, but they're not spaced in a way where the light is going to be incredibly effective for what's going on the stage. It's more about illuminating the crowd. And their configuration really is confusing to you. It's a vaguely circular pattern. Yes.
More hexagonal.
Yep. If you share this information with anybody of a spectral nature, they're going to tell you that this implies something to the effect that there is a ritual that's going to happen.
You heard illuminate the entire crowd on fun, but I think it might be both.
Let's just make sure we're not in the crowd then, shall we?
Poor Larry.
I'll go back
Let's
to
go, Larry.
I'll go back to our lair that we have now, and I'll report to Hocus. I've been tracking those people in red I told you about. They seem to be interested in Goatchella. Something happening there. They've been scouting
Yes,
it
we're
out.
having a concert. We're sponsoring it.
I'm familiar.
Why did you ask?
People in red.
It was a statement. I apologize. Distracted. Sorry. Go ahead, please.
Okay. People in red, they're scouting it out. More than we are, even. Notice them, asking some questions about first about the Neruvian horse masters, the nature of the area. And it seemed like there was something off about the lighting. It was set up in a hexagon pattern. Not
Since we're
normal.
sponsoring this thing, do we have a vague map of Ankard Park and where?
So Ari would have been, I think Ari would have been the one that was actually involved in the planning of it, and she would have brought back any materials to make it available to you. And so there would be something in the HQ, essentially, in a common area where you could see something vaguely, that represents what the layout of the land is going to be for the festival.
All right, so the stage is here. Are you telling me? Show me where the poles are being placed.
They're not on the stage. They're not lighting up the stage. It's like around the audience, almost.
So show me on the map where the...
There.
This could be quite bad. So you say that the people in red, that they are the ones who are building this? Do we know who we have building these structures?
That's the right question, Hocus.
I don't know. It seemed like they were aware of them, but not the ones building. And
It strikes me that we have two warring factions who are both speaking of an impending hullabaloo other than Goatchella. And if one of them is responsible for the construction of this thing, then it could be very possible that they are trying to do something very, very bad. And my fear is that it is going to be a ritual which will effectively consume the souls of everyone contained within these boundaries. At least. Given Ankard Park's proximity to Tangletown and what tends to go on there, any spirit wells which may be in the area, I will need to cross-reference those. And it is at a fairly major connection of the river.
yeah, it's not good, whatever it is.
No.
The real question is why and who.
That would be correct, yes.
We are sponsoring the event. We should be able to get some information on who set this up, right?
One would hope.
I'm gonna see if I can't get in contact with the event planner. They gotta know something.
You said that you heard this from those people in red. Where were you? Where did you hear this? What the hell is burning? Oh, it's a barbecue. Barrel closed.
They seem to be holed up there. They've got some kind of hideout apartments. They're definitely respected around there. It's odd. Things are peaceful. People
The
seem...
entire district is like that. It always has been for as long as I've lived here.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the few places I actually enjoyed having to deliver messages from time to time.
Their generosity seems to extend a bit further to the red ones than others. Almost like they got something to thank them for.
That would make sense. I wonder if they are concerned. Did it seem to you that they were concerned that something bad was going to happen there?
I'd say so. They mentioned a couple other events in the city too. They mentioned the election in Crow's Foot. They mentioned the reconstruction of Owlbare, but Goatchella, that was their main concern.
There are the two lightning towers. I think that is the main one, which we helped with the renovation a little bit. And I believe there is a second one that is going up around the same time. Nobody near as large. I think it is perhaps in Charter Hall. I think along the edges. It's curious. You cannot help but wonder if they would speak more with me than they would with you.
Knowing what I know about you, they just might.
There was a moment where I almost said, what the hell is that supposed to mean? But then I realized it was not meant as an insult. Right. And you, not to tell you what to do, but see if you can find out who is making the construction efforts on this place. See if we can trace it. I have a sneaking suspicion, more of a haunting suspicion, that our alabaster friends are somewhere in that line of succession. But I will see if I can speak to those of the Crimson.
I'm tempted to agree. Let's go then. Right. So I guess this would be turning into information gathering or free play, right?
Well, hold on a second. Jinx wanted to do one more downtime action.
Right.
Which was?
I wanted to talk to our asset in Ironhook and basically say, really, dude, pull your thumb out.
Okay, so spend a coin or whatever you decide, and then that will complete that. And so you were able to clear up any last issues, and now you are completely set up to go. Now, with everything that has gone on and all the exposition that has gone on, I'm going to ask a very, very specific question. There are in my head, there are 3 scores on the table. Which one you really all want to do this week will have some effect on what happens next week. But it's clear that you guys are going to want to also figure out what's going to Goatchella. Like you're gonna want to spend. That's going to be something that leads to the essentially the finale in some way, shape, or form. So the 3 on the table are, in my head, figuring out the circumstances around what's actually going on at Coachella with the people in red, and that may be a social engagement with Hocus actually going and communicating. There is the Scoveland uprising and the infiltration and escape of Jinx, Godefur, Ulf, and Samandra. Or there is Esther/Sling's desire to re-engage with KS.
Can do that next week. That's good. That's fine.
Well, sure, but there are also other things that are going to be happening with Esther or Sling specifically next week. Remember who's arriving next week?
Oh yeah, but maybe before he arrives, we can get a little pew pew going on.
Next week.
Well, we may have to run a little bit long, and that's fully understandable with the expectation, But with all of that, there are 3 on the table as far as I can hear right now. So really, I think it behooves you guys to have a quick discussion, either on or in chat, to figure out what it is that you guys want to do, because those are 3 different, interesting, significant events that you guys are going to try to accomplish.
We can metagame this. We can discuss this now.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Let's discuss.
I think Coachella is something we all kind of want to and need to know if we're going to make plans for next week.
Yeah.
So I think that's necessary. I think Jinx could this week still go to prison, and we can break him out next week too.
Yeah, we can get him in prison before the end and then get him out next week.
Yes, I think that's a good idea.
After the beginning. Yeah.
And with Esther, we can hopefully do a little, shaman and get Mr. Man in the White to be over on that side of the tracks. so I can do the pew pew at Coachella.
Oh, you mean that our side of the tracks? I thought you meant like
we have a
completely
train.
abandoning his cause. I was like, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, and whatever you want to do with the Man in White is probably relevant to whatever we're about to find out about Coachella too.
Yeah, I feel
Which is the question that I was going to ask is...
If I have send a little message over to Johnny, potentially could work something out where, basically, Louise thinks that something that Esther could do / say to our friend, the male in white, might convince him to come to the party to Coachella. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be a lovely occasion? Wouldn't that be wow?
I get the feeling he's gonna be there anyway.
Really, what gives you that idea, Hocus? I mean, really, what's
the feeling that he's going to be trying to summon something or take the souls of a bunch of people or something like that.
I'm just saying, if we can get him to one side at Coachella, and I can have a chat with him about all that's been going on, and then we'll go our separate ways.
Okay, so it sounds like, if I'm hearing this correctly, that you want Hocus to approach people in red in Halaithe. And then at the end of that, Jinx is going to... Mr. Godefur is going to jail. So...
Really
that's the
sound
plan.
like a children's program. Mr. Godefur goes to jail.
Well, I was, actually, what I was thinking is the old Jimmy Stewart movie, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, right?
Yeah,
that was what I was going with. But yeah, Mr. Godefur goes to jail. It's a fun tale, right? Of trial and tribulation and much.
There's no trial. Straight to jail. Do not pass go. So anyway,
I was referring to. Yes, shut up.
Excuse me. Do not pass goat.
Oh.
Oh, wow. That was good, actually.
Yeah, I know. So since the chit chat with the people in red,
Bit bad.
really only if
The chit chat.
it really only seems to involve Hocus. This is my problem with this is that
Goat on.
it's really just Hocus and everybody else is going to be sitting around, doing nothing while I'm RPing someone.
Well, we can make it so I'm going to be completely honest with you. You're not going to get a lot of details. However, and this is all metagame, this is actually pretty perfect in respect to setting up the one shot on Saturday. I mean, unbelievably so in a lot of ways.
All right.
So we have a one shot on Saturday?
I have no idea. I don't know what you're talking about.
We can figure that out later.
Yeah, totally.
So table, what do we say?
Okay, it sounds like we're doing them all in one, and I like it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Damn it. No, Louise, no.
Essentially
Not Louise.
Then we've got 35 minutes to get all this done.
Into one score.
This is just like last night when Steam said, we've got 10 minutes, we can kill this guy. And an hour later, you guys still weren't done.
Yeah.
Right, we're gonna
let's
win then. Let's go.
Guys, I want to say something very interesting about last night. Ultimate result of what Steam narrated when he got that freaking crit.
Fucking beautiful.
Blew me away. That was game changing. It was really game changing in respect to what he did there. I am afraid. I'm afraid of Steam now.
I'd have knelt before him. Oh yes. So
well. Gee, I wonder why, Mr. Trendane. But anyways,
would you like me to explain it to you in extremely lurid detail? No.
I want to make sure that Steam is on screen at the same time so we can watch his face.
Oh, you're gonna watch his face.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. All right. So, what is the plan, guys? What's the plan?
So, Jinx first has to do his thing, right?
Jinx is going to go to jail.
Yeah, right. Let's try that first.
Okay.
You first have to roll a thing, right?
Well, so if he's just going to jail, then the engagement. Well, so so my understanding about the way that we're going to run that particular score is that it's not the going to jail part. That's the easy part, right? So he can just go to jail, right? Because he's gonna take the heat as Grin.
Yeah.
Go to jail. And then the engagement roll and the score is actually a prison escape. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So Mr. Jinx, Mr. Godefur can go to jail whenever he wants. Like he could just turn himself into a blue coat and they will tend, all he's got to do is say, I did this and we're good.
That's what I do.
Hello, my name is Bluecoat.
And he should still have the,
you look like
blue
criminals.
coat uniform. He still has the blue coat uniform from when we got the cart.
Yeah.
Right. So just narrate for us then, Jinx, what actually happens when you turn yourself in. I mean, because I think that this is a situation where you can set the stage for the incarceration of Jinx Godefur.
Okay. Then what Jinx is going to do is literally walk into I assume they have stations, right? The blue coats. Oh,
absolutely. In every district there is a blue coat. Essentially there is a mansion or a structure that it represents where the blue coats operate from. Each district has their own location.
Then why don't we say I'm gonna walk into a station in I don't know, let's do Char Hollow since that's my turf.
Okay.
And I'm going to say, hi, my name is Grin, and I attempted to assassinate Alderman-elect Raymond Bowerstone.
What? What do you mean?
I attempted to shoot him. I was in the crowd, and I pulled a weapon, and I shot at him.
Can I chime in here real fast?
Sure, go for it.
Can Jinx sort of splash some alcohol on himself before he goes in, so that it's like he's in a drunken just look, I'm sorry what I did.
Oh, and I'd be pretending this time. I wouldn't actually be drunk. Oh.
You wouldn't actually be drunk, yeah.
Oh, that would be challenging. Okay. Yeah.
So the moment that you answer after he says what, you see that his hand goes to his side to where you would find his pistol, right?
Yeah.
And he's say that again to me slowly. And as he says that, you see him kind of look back and nod his head, and you realize your spidey senses or your Jinx Godiffer senses are tingling, and you realize that there are people starting to step up behind you.
I most definitely make sure my hands are in the air.
Okay. Do you bring any weapons with you?
No, nothing.
How are you dressed?
I'm in my slacks, my boots, and my shirt with the sleeves rolled. Oh no, with the sleeves.
With the sleeves rolled down and pinned.
With the sleeves rolled
wrists.
down.
You would
Very tightly.
Yes.
You would be dressed as Jinx. I mean, as a Grin.
Grin,
would have been.
yes.
Yeah.
And these are special sleeves that can't be rolled up.
Actually, yeah, that means the coat's
They're
back.
so
I've got Grin's
tight.
coat on.
Okay.
And I'm literally, with a slur, like, I took a shot at Raymond Bowerstone. I didn't like what the guy was saying. I didn't like anything he had to say, so I took a shot at him.
Hand still on pistol. Blue coat standing in front of you behind the desk. Says, are you going to come quietly for questioning, or are we going to...
No trouble. No trouble. I am racked with guilt for my actions, and I need to serve penance for what I did. And I heard he survived. I'm incredibly grateful he survived. But I obviously, I feel terrible. I did the crime. I would very much like to do the time.
So he's looking behind you as you're saying this, and he's nodding to them as you're getting nods. He says, please put your hands on my desk and do not move them until somebody helps you move them.
Done.
And they slowly approach you, and they begin to put your hands behind your back and manacle you.
Okay.
And lead you into the back. Is there any type of action that you want to take before you go to jail?
No.
Okay. So we're just going to say that Jinx Godiffer, posing as Grin, goes to jail. Next week we will, when we resolve this with the escape, the engagement roll will establish everything that happens prior to the moment of the escape. We will then do a couple of flashbacks that may involve the conversations, but those won't be stressful class. They won't cost any stress, right? You can determine you will narrate the essentially the circumstances of the escape, and then we will play out the events of those little things as they happen, right? Okay. So when you go and get Samandra, hopefully Alex will be here with us and be able to play her up a little bit, and then when you go meet Ulf, that will be played up as well, that kind of a thing. Yeah. So. Okay.
And now between now and then, I'll talk to everyone so that
we will have a conversation off camera about that. But just for now, we're just going to say that Mr. Godiffer goes to jail,
and Tim Robbins is gradually digging a tunnel. With a rock hammer,
with a beautiful poster of Raquel Welch. Okay. Yes. All right. So we're going to cut. We're going to cut to Sling. Did you want to do your thing before we do this final best part? Okay.
Thank you. So almost at the end, because I'm assuming we had this conversation all together, like, oh, you're going to go to jail? Sweet. Okay, cool. We're going to go plan the concert. I'm imagining that's how it kind of went down.
Bring you a fruit basket.
Towards the end of that, Sling will just slip out, just for a sec. And she'll start by heading down to the docks, and she'll look out to the sea, and then she'll wander kind of aimlessly towards the train station, which is where she first came into the city, and she'll look at the tracks, And then she's going to wander almost aimlessly again towards the barge. The barge that she was taken to, the barge that belongs to Steam. And she's going to slip out a small knife from her boot and make an incision on her forearm, and then take out a small bottle from her bag. And the black blood that drips from her vein, she's going to squeeze out into this bottle, shake it around, and then dip her finger in it, and she's going to write in Taikarosi something on the barge. And then she'll step back and she'll look at it and she'll sigh and she'll walk back to her party, to her friends.
Do you want to asset, or do you want a handout so you can write what that actually is, or have you already pre-agreed what that is?
I mean, it's a very short thing, so I could just send it to him, but if you want me to give me a handout, I can do that too.
Either way, it's your call, so just let me know. All right, so we're going to cut to Hocus preparing himself for this social engagement.
Sorry, I was looking at a swear trek tweet.
Naughty. Naughty.
What? It's on Twitter. It's not like it's an AD
Naughty.
account.
Naughty. Anyways, Hocus,
Yeah.
talk to us. Tell me all about how you're going to prepare for this engagement.
Well, he's wearing his robes and his what is now his usual couture, and so he will make no attempts to remain obfuscated or hidden in any way, and he will simply stroll into Barrowclef and make his way to the market and begin to ask around very politely if anyone has seen people bearing this insignia that he would very much like to speak with them at their earliest opportunity, if at all possible. And then he will probably buy a piece of fruit because he's a little bit hungry.
Okay. So given that this is an actual score and this is an actual engagement, that's the detail for the social connection, is that you're just going to be open and obvious about how you're doing this. What is Hocus carrying with him that is not his normal loadout? Anything in particular?
That is not his normal loadout.
Yes. What I mean by that is typically you would be your robes, your mask, your spirit vials, if any of them are empty, and your hook. Would you not carry your hook in this situation? Would you not carry your spirit vials? Is there anything that you would do to appear to, I guess, establish a disposition that is not in any way, shape, or form defensive or hostile?
No.
Okay.
He is going in as himself, exactly as he is.
Okay, great. Guess what, guys? It's that time again, and I know that love is going to come up. What are we doing for the engagement roll? This is a peculiar one because there's a number of interesting factors playing a negative towards you guys here. So let's start with the positives. Positive number one is, of course, the first die for sure luck. Positive number two is all of the work that Sky has done in respect to the long-term project of finding everything. You're gonna have to. This is actually. This is a case where love actually could have a factor. So positive disposition, positive behavior, given everything else that Sky has seen, positive elements or positive emotional state, or being good in this particular case, or being love, actually has a factor. But so how does that get represented in the role here with Hocus walking in the door?
Well, the moment earlier when Sling / Esther and Hocus had that, they were like, we've got a common goal and we're likely now together to be able to achieve this goal. We're going to put him in a good mood. And he's going to be like, well, I can go and do this thing now. I'm feeling good because all that stuff. Yeah.
A good enough mood. I will make one adjustment.
Okay.
A good enough mood that his mask is up.
Ooh. Love.
When he walks in the door?
Well, when he walks into Barrowclef.
Wow. Yes. So yes, love does. I mean, this positive behavior, absolutely. That is a +1 there, especially given everything else.
This is a fortune roll, right?
Yes, this is the fortune roll.
Okay, all right. I was like, where's the thing?
So one of the other things that I will add to that is, given everything that was explained about the current disposition of Barrowcleft, how relatively peaceful it is, how relatively positive it is, will also have a very tangible effect on Hocus, such that this will be the first time that he knows a little bit of relative peace that has nothing to do with meditation or making rope. Right? So because that's the kind of effect that it's going to have on somebody who is such an emotionally like an emotional storm and turmoil. Sky is very clear. He's very particular. He has a very specific set of goals. His is very much focus. Jinx might actually experience a little bit of I would think that he would also feel, because because there's so much turmoil and conflict within Jinx. Anybody where there's a significant amount of conflict, like internal emotional conflict or conversation, I think that would have an effect on it. So love, happy disposition walking in. I'm going to say that this is an additional die, so 4 die, because this will have such a positive effect on Hocus. All right, guys, so that's 4 dice so far. What else is in play?
So what is it that we're exactly...
So this is a social engagement where Hocus is basically cold calling the Red Dwarf or any of his people.
Okay, and the ones we've got so far are love.
Love. All the research that Sky did, and then one for Sherlock.
Okay.
That seems good to me.
I got nothing.
So
Yeah,
the only other thing I could think about is going meta, is that Shroud seems to have thrown in with Chaos in their way, and that Phantom has sort of thrown in with these Crimson folks. If they know that, I mean, having dealt with fuck is your name, Sky, before, that if they know that Hocus works with him and that he's leaning more towards their side, then Hocus would present a less interested in what Chaos has to say and more interested in talking to them and hearing their side of the argument.
Okay, so I'm going to point out what Mike is saying. His opinion is a little bit different than mine about that particular point, but I'm gonna share both. Mike's point is really, really interesting because Nyx is the only one who's actually thrown in with Chaos in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Everybody else has said no. So during that conversation, OC walked out. Raymond wasn't involved. Steam left because he was carrying Sling away. Nyx was the only one who stayed and committed to the circumstance and committed to the situation. Even the puppet that is Bowerstone said no. So there's that. My answer to that particular point is a little bit different. And I'm going to play it on both Shroud and Phantom. Shroud has not actually done anything that Chaos has asked them to do, or Nyx asked Nyx to do, right? They have taken no action in that direction since that meeting. Phantom, on the other hand, all they've done is to try to figure out what's going on with the Red Dwarf and the Willowy Woman, but you actually haven't done anything that supports their cause. Now, you don't know what their cause is, you don't know what's going on, but you haven't actually actively done anything that fits in within their essential goals and beliefs. Right. So if I was looking at them as a faction in the game, and I was looking at their belief drives, heritage, and background, or their goals, inner conflict, all that stuff, you actually haven't accomplished anything that fits in that way. So arguably, that is not a factor in either case, either for against the Shroud, against you guys, or against this faction that's there, this or from a positive side, you guys actually haven't supported them in any way, shape, or form. And in fact, that if we're at 4, the first negative I'm going to say is that coming into this situation cold without an introduction, or coming in as you're approaching it, that actually presents that actually, you know, as Sky was told, you will see us again, or you will see me again, or we will see each other again, right? There was never an implication of an open invitation to come find us.
Mm-hmm.
In doing that, you may put yourself in a position where that is a negative, right? Okay. And so I'll throw that out to the table. I'm not going to actively say no. I'm not going to say these are the negatives and this is what I'm doing. I'm going to throw out two negatives, and then you guys are going to tell me whether that makes sense or not. That's the first one. So if the table thinks that that's a negative, then we'll remove the dice. But I'd like you guys to be honest about it. If you don't think it's a negative, then we won't remove it.
Well, my take on it is them saying we will see you again is different than don't seek us out. Did they tell us not to seek them out?
No, they did not. Okay. Is everybody in agreement with that?
I'm with
I mean, it's semantics, but yeah,
it is. It is.
All right. Okay. Here's the second one I'm going to throw up.
Okay.
You have absolutely no clue of actually who you're dealing with, and you don't know. You have not triggered any other interaction with them based on your actions. Mm-hmm. So you don't really know what you're walking into when you walk in that door. So that could be a negative.
Yep.
Oh my God, there's arms. All right. Oh, bye-bye. See you later.
You complained about them. Now they're gone.
Okay. So that tells me that this is 3 dice then.
3 or 2?
3, because you had 4.
Yeah.
You guys got to choose both of these negatives, which one applied, and the one that's only applied is the one that you don't know what you're walking actually into.
Okay.
All right. Excellent. Now, Hocus. Roll me 3 dice as an engagement roll.
No notes, I presume. Could I type in huzzah? No.
You can totally type in huzzah.
God, why is Hocus rolling this?
Because crit.
Yeah! Oh my God. Oh my God.
A good roll!
Fuck.
It pays to be nice. I've been saying this since the beginning.
Love wins.
Oh, fuck, man. Fuck.
Go on, Johnny.
Don't taunt the monkeys.
No, I'm not going to taunt the monkeys. This is what I'm going to start with. I'm going to start with Hocus narrating meeting. I want you like we did with Grimjack last night and in some ways. I want you to narrate the circumstances of you meeting one of these individuals. They are human. There are men and women in there. They are of a variety of cultures and ethnic backgrounds. So their commonality is that they wear the sigil and symbols of whoever these people are. I would like you to narrate. I would let you go ahead.
Is it like the Hive where they wear them different ways, or are they?
No,
all...
it's in the same way as like they're soldiers, or they are part of an organization, right?
Right.
So take us from the marketplace where you meet this particular person, and please describe who this person is.
Okay.
All the way to the doorstep.
So, having been asking around and walking around the market, occasionally asking, and for a long period, not getting any sort of traction whatsoever, but being Hocus, he is thankful and kind and respectful in all cases. And eventually he starts to get a little bit hungry and wanders over to a fruit stand that he had not been to before, and purchases the aforementioned piece of fruit that he was going to buy. And feeling a bit tired, having walked around so much, he goes over to a bench on the kind of the southern end of the market, sort of the southwestern side, but he's sitting on a bench on the eastern side of the street, facing the west. And as he pulls out a very small and very clearly, like, no one in their right mind would view this as a weapon rather than a tool, begins carving slices of this piece of fruit and sitting watching just as the sun gets down to the point where you can see it underneath the clouds. That fraction of a moment at sunset where you can see the sun. And he just sits there for a moment and stares at it, and then when it's gone, he finally kind of comes back to himself and blinks a couple of times. And when he comes out of his reverie, there is a young lady sitting beside him, and he's fairly tall, so she's shorter than him. She is probably either Eruvian or from the Dagger Isles. She has very dark skin, could be caramel color, but now that he's just been staring into the sun, he can't quite make it out. And so he kind of starts for a moment and glances over, and she just half turns her head towards him and says, "I hear you're looking for people." And he says, "Well, yes, actually, some friends of mine and we are sponsoring an event at Coachella in Anchor Park. I have heard that there may be rather unfortunate events spooling out in the very near future for that. I have seen some evidence to this effect. We have, in recent weeks, become more acutely aware of greater powers that be than us, and the long-standing feud between them. If I surmise correctly, you represent one half of this equation, and to be blatantly honest, I do not know enough about either side. I have not had any opportunity to speak with this individual who displays himself in white and ivory, so I have not spoken to him. Friends of mine have, but I want to hear both sides. I cannot make an informed decision as to who I should throw my support behind unless I know the story. And that is all I ask, a chance to plead my case, to hear your side of the story. And so, since he is not pressing her for answers, but rather the opportunity to be allowed to hear answers, she weighs this for a moment and eventually nods and says, "Follow me," and takes him to the door.
So when you get to the building, there again, as Sky might have described, there's a flurry of voices and activity. When you get there, it doesn't sound so hushed and serious as more of a moment of joy. And you were told at first to wait outside. And the woman walks in the door and closes the door. And there's a cheer and a yell of greeting for just a second. It's almost a moment of jubilation in a very strong, sort of supportive kind of a way. And there are calls asking her where she's been, and she makes some excuse and moves, beyond your ability to hear. And so it is after a minute that it starts to quiet down, and there are more hushed tones. and the door begins to open. And standing in front of you is an individual about 4 feet tall. Long, red beard, red mustache, very much well-groomed. Bald on the top of the head, but the rest of the hair kind of braided back into the back, down his back. Wearing clothing that, while it has tones of red, actually has other colors in it as well. And on him in his front is an apron. But it is stained with various types of splotches that appear to be some liquid of some kind. And you realize that it is an apron or some sort of cover specifically used as a part of cooking. He sizes you up and down for a second. For him doing that, go ahead.
I was going to say, when he opens that door, Hocus is standing there with his hook. It's collapsed, but it's held out in both hands flat. So as to say, like, if you consider this a weapon, you can take it from me while I'm here, sort of a thing.
So looking at you up and down, his gaze really does take you in, and you feel, it's a gaze that you feel because it's so serious, it's so intense. And he kind of looks you a little slyly after a second and pushes the hook back towards you. You'll have no need of that here. Please, come in. And he invites you inside and closes the door behind you. What you see in front of you is a common area with a number of rooms off the side to it. But in the center of this common area is a table. And it's not a round table, but it is a table where there isn't an obvious choice for who sits at the head of that table. And there are a number of men and women, and there is one child sort of running around helping, serve food. And everybody in the room kind of takes you in, kind of looking you over, assessing you as to what is actually going on here. And the dwarf looks over at them and says, "Don't mind us, we'll be in back." And he just walks you through towards the back where there's a kitchen. And he returns to the stove and he is cooking something. And he says, "Giselle tells me that you are here for information. What can I do for you?"
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
If there is information to be shared, yes, I would be honored to receive it.
How did you find us?
I simply asked around the market. Well, perhaps I should back up a bit further than that. You almost certainly remember an associate of mine, Sky. It was he who first mentioned that he had seen you here. And I took it upon myself, as we have woefully little information as to this side of this feud, this conflict, this war, this whatever term you choose to use to define it. You have people who are clearly in service or having sworn fealty to you. And I have heard that the other, your counterpart, your opponent, whatever, has been demanding that people join his side. I am not one to make rash decisions based on a lack of information. From what Sky has told me of his meeting with you after the incident at the Opera House, you can be terse and blunt, but I did not get the sense that you are not honest. I cherish things like that. as it is good, in my opinion, to know exactly where the person you are conversing with stands. And so I come asking, why should we throw in what little we could offer on this side of the conflict rather than the other side? What can you tell me that would sway me toward your side?
He lets you speak. There is this play of emotions that goes across his face, and he's really easy to read. Almost the opposite of what Sky may have described around the situation. But the situation there was a place of conflict, and so he was in control, right? He was managing a situation. He was leading men. And there is both joy and confusion that play across his face. When you first mentioned Sky's name, he's confused. And you mentioned talking about the circumstances of the people that work, that have sworn fealty to him. He becomes a little amused at that statement. And then as you mentioned again, Sky, but refer to the event at the Opera House, awareness dawns on him, almost as if he had forgotten or didn't even note that as a significant event for him. And as you finish, the smile again crosses his face. And he looks at you and says, "Can I offer you a drink?"
I would be deeply honored to accept. Please bear in mind that I do not do you have tea?
He grabs for a kettle and begins to throw it inside of the to put it inside of the hearth so that the water can begin to boil. And he says, "It'll be just a minute." Now, you said a great many things, some of which I find interesting, and some of which are just not true. We don't ask for your help. I want to start there. And he looks like he's being gentle and tender about this because it's almost like he doesn't want to hurt your feelings or build bad blood into the situation. We don't need your help. You're not the kind of... And he's trying to be delicate. People that we tend to seek out. And don't mistake my intent. I have great respect for your family and for your culture, for your background. But the circumstances of what you do are visible on your soul. And you realize again that he's trying to be incredibly delicate about this situation. So when you say, throw your lot in with Chaos, or throw your lot in with us, we never asked for your help, but you will be our enemy should you help Chaos. Now, and he looks a little bit more pensive as he turns and begins to stir for just a second, and the kettle begins to boil, and it begins to whistle. And so he stirs the pot for just a second, and then reaches over and grabs for a tea kettle, or an actual pot, so that he can throw some leaves into it, and then pulls the kettle from the boiling kettle from the fire and pours the water into the pot. And he places it on the table. Is there a particular way that Eruvians take tea? Is there anything in particular about it? Is there some additional spice or anything? Or do they take goat milk? Do they take... would there be something that's very particular to that way?
It would tend to be very sweet.
Okay, so he will provide you with the ability to make it sweet. He will provide you with some sort of sugar or some other sweetener of some kind, something that's very particular to
Most
how
likely honey.
Well, so that's to how Eruvians would. So he would provide you with that honey, right? And so and he would put a cup down and he would put a thing of honey there for you to be able to do that. And he turns to you again as he sets this all on the table. And for the first time, he sits down at the table. And he says, now, separately from all of that, I want you to understand that I don't want Caius dead. That, and this may not make sense to you, but that he is my brother. Just as if your friend Sky shared the circumstances of what happened at the Opera House, then you know of the Mother May. She is my sister, after a fashion. And so, I don't wish him dead. I wish him returned to the family. It is very important that we are all reunited. But I fear the circumstances is we will lose one of our own.
If I may ask, and his voice kind of cracks for a second, how long has this feud been raging?
What did you call yourself?
Most people now refer to me as Hocus, but the name to which I was born is Uses Hakan of the House of Sesereth, Uduasha.
It's a lovely city. I've been there. I've spent many a lifetime there.
As have I. And he just kind of flashes onto a few of the moments from way back.
He says, Usaf, my name is Talk. I am older than you can even imagine. Older than that, for I see the circumstances with which you live conflicted as you do. But my age and my circumstance is different than Caius. But we are bound in something. And he sighs an incredible, he takes a deep breath and just sighs. We are bound by something, my brother and I, by circumstances with which he created. And now, I just wish to hold that bond before something worse happens.
As Esther.
How do you know that name?
One of the people I have been whether fortunate or unfortunate enough in the recent weeks to have been working with was her mother. Not a day or two at the most ago, she came to me. She knew my name. My name. A name that I have not heard or spoken or even thought of for 20 years that I have been in this city. A name that I left behind in Eruvia when... And she knew it. She heard it whispered from the spirit well, from that thing that is hunting me. But she came to me and asked me to help her to refashion a Leviathan tooth into another weapon that she may use against Chaos, to try to kill him for vengeance against what he did to Esther. And I did. I helped her. And then we find out that somewhere in uncut... See, there's my stammer. Yeah, just like Steam yesterday. Except I haven't been drinking.
Well, now you need to, apparently.
Well, okay. Yeah, well, my tea is empty. Thanks very much. Did you say his name is Talk?
His name is Talk.
Can you spell that?
T-O-C-K.
Okay, thank you. In Uncut Park, there is a festival, which, given everything you've told me, may not necessarily interest you all that much, but from what Sky told me when he came back earlier today, there are poles which have been positioned in very specific, ritualistic positions. I may not be the greatest occultist master in what is left of the world, but I do recognize them when I see them. To be blunt, I don't know if the placement of those is your doing or that of Chaos and his people. But this is part of what I have come to try to glean. Is what is being set up there, is that bad? Will that, no matter how insignificant we may seem to be as children, if that at most, I do not wish to see people hurt, and I suspect that you do not either. And he kind of glances over at the teacup. It would be rude of me to drink alone, I think, would it not?
He gets up, walks over to a spot in the corner as you see a small cask from which he opens the lever, and there is a mug that he grabs for as it begins to pour and pours under, and you smell the fine fermented goodness of an ale. And he brings it back to the table and he sits. You say your friend Sky saw something unusual about the park. What else did he see?
He had mentioned that in speaking with the Erubian horse masters at the stable, that an elderly woman had come to speak to them about ensuring that should anything untoward occur, that the animals would be secured and kept safe.
When you say elderly woman, he smiles and chuckles a little bit and takes a drink. He says, Thea has been with me for a long time, but don't ever let her hear that you say elderly. And he just kind of smiles with a grin.
No offense was intended.
Thea was there. And given the circumstances of what your friend Sky heard, we are concerned about the park, about the event. We know all about it, and we understand its true purpose. It is being presented as a circumstance to celebrate something. But what it's celebrating. And this time he gets a little bit distant and a little bit sad, and as the stoicism begins to creep onto his face. What it's celebrating is death. And we will be there in the hopes of preventing whatever it is that we can. But know this, if you are there, we will stop at nothing to make sure that Chaos is not accomplishing what he sets out to do.
If I may venture one last question. You say that you do not need our help, but that if we throw in with Chaos, that we will become your enemy. If all sides were equal, since the group to which Sky and I belong are technically sponsors of this event, unknowingly.
And he gets amused at that. He smiles with a little bit of amusement. Continue.
What can we do to help? Your presence there would probably seem adversarial. But we, as sponsors, it would be expected that we would be there. Is there anything that we can do to make your job any easier?
I don't trust you. The taint on your soul speaks of your character. It is not your fault. I know that. And as he reaches back for something, for the first time, his sleeve kind of creeps up a little bit, and you see something represented on a glyph that triggers what we've been talking about privately. It triggers a memory for you. Briefly and very quickly, what do you see?
It is a beautiful, bright, sunny day near the base of a not necessarily vast city, but sprawling city surrounding a shining castle with pennants high on the wind. Toward the inner edge of a broad and bustling market. Some kind of festival going on. It's not just harvest market or anything else, but it is almost like the harvest time market, but it's more celebratory than simply conducting business. And there are brightly colored clothes, flowing gowns, jewelry everywhere, crisp, clean air, and shafts of sunlight coming through clouds. And as people are murmuring around the market, making trade deals here and there, little by little, sharing treats with their children, the sound of trumpets comes through, and a procession comes down from the castle. Many carts, again with pennants, some bearing a rather familiar insignia of Eruvian royalty. And stepping from one of those carts, which has had its roof opened up so that it is open and airy, standing up is Chaos. Smiling jubilantly at everyone, and they all cheer. They're happy to see him. It is wondrous that he would, this prince, so beloved, come down from the castle at this time of festivity to grace the people with his presence.
Just one additional element to that vision. Off in the crowd, standing near Chaos as he descends from his carriage, is a mother and child, a daughter. And he smiles especially at the child as the vision fades. And by that point, as the vision fades, you can see that Talk is looking directly at you, watching you. And it gives you a moment of pause to collect yourself once you come back. And he says, I'm sorry for what was done to you. That is no way a child should be treated. Just on the edge of manhood, and to be given such a false vision of hope. But I can only promise you this. We will prevent Chaos from doing any more harm. But I'm not sure that you will ever see that again. And he steps back, or he sits back in his chair and takes another drink. And he pauses for a second and says, Chaos's death will mean more to the world than you can possibly understand. And so his life must be protected at all costs. For if you think the world is dark as it is now, the world would be darker if we were 25. And that's where we're going to end it.
Yeah.
Wow. So, holy shit. I'm so glad that you played that out the way you did, because it allowed me to reveal so much about what's actually going on. Fuck. We're gonna do like we did last night, guys. We're gonna
be right with you. Hang on.
Larry's gonna take. I have to go. Larry's
we're gonna do XP off screen, guys, because that was so intense and we went so long. And I don't want to diminish the value of what we just got from you guys. So, with all that being said, first thing I want to say is, you guys did amazing tonight. Hocus, you almost had me crying, man. Your teary eyes. I was having trouble not tearing up. That was amazing. And with that, I'm gonna pass it off to Speedy because I need a moment to collect myself.
Yeah. That was intense. God. Hey Johnny. Can I be 27?
So that's an interesting element, isn't it? You'll have to find out.
I think we have to be tier 5 for that.
No, it's not. It doesn't quite work that way.
Maybe it just requires you absorbing a lot of souls.
I have a new
Like at
plan.
I have a new plan too.
Let's all plan.
Let's kill Caius, but then do whatever it was he was gonna try to do, and then take all that power, or something. I don't know. That would probably.
Sorry, I wasn't laughing at that. I was laughing at something else.
Okay.
We're not gods, or you guys aren't gods, huh?
No, I mean, yes.
I am. So, hashtag God Squad. Bro, come on.
Oh, God. If anyone is going to be 27, it's probably Greg, right? Or Steve.
Well, so, you guys, there was a lot revealed, and then when you go back and you think about it, I guarantee you it's going to be Trendane that figures it out first. Because I think he's messaged me a couple times and figured out some things, right? When he figures it out, everybody's going to know because of the way I'm sure that Hocus is going to play it up. All that being said, it doesn't quite work with 27.
All right, so we just need to replace 26.
That might be what you're thinking about. However, he just revealed the focal point, the fulcrum of this whole thing, right?
That's the name of the campaign, guys.
We finally did it.
Anyways, I'm not going to go any more into it because there's still a lot to be revealed. But
I am very excited. I am just thrilled. Okay.
God, why?
Let's go to the cast starting with Trendane. Let's wrap this up. It's getting pretty late.
Yeah, okay. So I would be Trendane Sparks. I'm a professional voiceover and audiobook narrator kind of guy. You can, if you feel like killing me repeatedly and you enjoy playing Skyrim, go ahead and download the mod Beyond Skyrim Bruma. It is fantastic. And it's actually larger than the Dragonborn DLC, and you get to kill me a bunch because my voice gets assigned to a lot of bandits in that game. So you get to kill me over and over and over and over again as a human, a Khajiit, and an orc. It's great. It's wonderful. It's fantastic. And hopefully here in the near future, I will be starting narration on the first of the Catalyst Game Labs BattleTech novels. I will be starting narrating that particular audiobook called Embers of War.
When can I borrow that? When can I pre-order it? When can I pre-order it? When can I pre-order it? When can I
Unfortunately,
pre-order
you
it?
can't.
When can I pre-order it? I want to pre-order it now, damn it.
I will tell you guys when it's available, but I haven't even started recording it yet, so it's going to take me at least probably a month, and then it'll probably be out. But they have to. I'm still waiting for the final contract to come out, but I have been told that I can inform everybody that I'm narrating the BattleTech and Shadowrun novels into audiobooks. So there we go. And I'm not narrating in that voice because I would, like, as Matthew Mercer once said when they were all dressed up as their Critical Role characters and he was dressed up as Victor, I will not do the entire show like this. I will run into traffic. So there we go. And so I guess who would be next? It would usually be Ari, but she's not there.
Still
balls
missing.
Still missing. So we could toss it to Joff again, but there's no balls. So just go ahead, Joe.
Wow. Seriously, Tran, Johnny. God damn. This game sometimes. And there's tiny little Jinx Godiford that just marches off to jail.
So I didn't get to do. I want to insert something here because you just said that. that thing that I mentioned off screen about changing the scope and focus and of everything, or for Jinx as a character, that's in there somewhere too.
Okay.
So
Sure.
I'm gonna let you think about that, because Jinx will actually have some effect on this as well. I just want you to know that.
Okay. Cool. I'm not going to obsess over that at all. That's fine.
That's my job, to create obsession, man.
I'm Joff. I was playing Jinx Coda for today. You may know me as Owlbare here on Twitch, over on Twitter, where I wax lyrical about lots of nonsense, including D&D and dice and tea and toast. And tomorrow night, you can actually find me for once streaming on my own damn channel, where I am DMing some homebrew content just in time for Halloween. You will have players in costume playing characters in costume at a Halloween party.
In costume?
Costume.
The party will not be in costume.
The party
Well, that's what I was concerned about.
The party is dressed as a different party.
Or it's dressed as a house that's been cocooned for all the termite treatment. That's its Halloween costume.
There we go. And so that's going to be fun and terrifying because, one, I don't DM too often, and two, I certainly don't stream it when I DM. So it's going to be doubly terrifying, but I will be wearing a suit. Ooh. I don't ever wear suits. So if you want to see how awful that looks, tune in tomorrow at 5 Pacific. That's all I got. Oh, no, wait. And next weekend, there actually is an Extra Life charity stream, an 8-hour charity stream, which, hi, Lulu, she is part of. She's playing in one of 2 games. During that stream, we will be running, raising money for the Miracle Network of Children's Hospitals, which is a pretty freaking important deal to me and everyone else taking part in the stream. So hopefully you'll be able to tune in. That's next Saturday from 11:30 a.m. through till 7:30 p.m. Pacific. That's all I've got. Louise?
Yo, it's your girl, me. I'm Louise. I play Sling, and my God, things have happened. Things definitely happened. Things are in motion to happen more. There's a lot of happenings, and I'm a lot scared about the majority of them. So yay, I can't wait for the finale. If you wanted to find me in the meantime, you can do so on Twitter at No More No Less, and that's more spelled MOORE. You can find me on my Twitch channel at AccidentalLegend, on the WonderQuest podcast, which is one of my favorite things in the world at the moment, and it makes me cry every time I think about it. And also on the D&D channel, on Saturdays, and
stop rubbing it in.
And with sorry, I'm a bit delusional. It's like almost 5 a.m. With Extra Life as well. Yes, you can catch me there. And also on D&D, we're doing an Extra Life charity event just before that as well. So tune into both and let's raise some funds. Yes. Moving on up.
To the east side.
Johnny, we should talk about you.
Who am I? What? Yeah. Hi, I'm Johnny. I'm the GM for 6 and 20. We do this crazy thing 3 nights a week. It's pretty ridiculous. You can find me over the VideoStoreCowboy channel, where one of these shows actually runs. You'll also find me this weekend on Unmade Gaming's 12-hour charity stream, where I will be crazy and running 2 streams. One will be directly Halloween related and not Blades in the Dark 6 and 20, and one will be sort of spooky related and be 6 and 20 as well. So 6 hours of jamming. Yeah, and I think Sunday as well. I will be on. That's this Sunday, right? The Exploding Dice Askrens thing, where we're doing the round table. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm going to be on that as well from 4 to 7 Eastern Standard Time as well, and I'll post something about that on Twitter as well. Anyways, if you want to see 6 and 20, it's here. It's on my channel. It's over on Mike's channel on Unmade Gaming as well on Wednesday nights. So thanks, guys.
But not this Tuesday.
You are right, because it's Halloween, and man, the Void is pissed. They are pissed off at everything that's going on right now. They are so pissed that they can't do anything about it. They're pissed. Did I say that they were pissed? Because they're pissed.
I'm getting that.
they're really pissed, man.
Wait, sorry, are they? They're happy about it. Okay, they're cool. As long as they're happy, you know.
Yeah,
it's fine.
it's all great, man.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Anyways, thanks, Speedy. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Johnny, and thank you everyone for being here tonight. Trendane, my God, as always, you're good. I like you. Thank you guys, everyone, for being here. Everyone who came out and watched, for those raids that came in earlier from Miss Ginger Ninja, from Unmade Gaming, from Awkward Kitty.
Oh my God.
You guys.
Sorry. She just did really good last night. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was really just, oh.
No, she's great.
She did really good last night. Fuck, just go.
So I hear. But yeah, as Johnny said, this is run on 3 channels, so make sure that you do follow Video Store Cowboy and Unmade Gaming on Twitch so you can see the other sides of the story.
Yeah, I watch them all, so can you.
I mean, I can't, but you, the audience, definitely can. You can also watch YouTube to get all the past recordings of it. Usually, it might be
they're
episode
uploaded.
or 2 behind. But you should definitely check that out as well, and follow on Twitter, so you can see like when we do other cool stuff like one shots that may be off schedule and stuff like that. There's also Blade's Twitter at Blade620 that you can follow. Make sure we also have a fan art giveaway going on right now. That'll be, I believe, ending as season 2 ends, where you can submit your fan art, and the person who is the best artist or whatever wins and gets a copy of Blades in the Dark to play of their own.
Now,
Also, buy our merch.
Yes, there's that too. This was the penultimate episode, right? So does that mean that next week is the season finale?
Yes.
That's the rumor.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
And then we have conversations about what that means after that.
If we ever come back again, yeah.
Oh no, the desire is to come back. It's just a matter of when. Apparently, there are some disagreements about that, so we need to figure that out.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a link for merch and stuff in chat as well. And the rules for the fan art giveaway are there. Goat Shell also coming up. Make sure if you guys are subbed to the channel already, you can get your name or whatever goat pun you want.
Send in your band names.
So we can
Or your bad names.
fill up that set list, and we'll be making a poster, making a t-shirt with all of them. It'll be super awesome. But yeah, that, I believe, is everything that we have for today. So thank you guys all for being here. My name is Speedy. I run the channel NotSoSpeedRuns, where you can see this game every Thursday. You can also see me playing other games the rest of the week, pretty much every day, but Fridays and Saturdays I'm streaming on this channel 8 to 11, playing video games and stuff. And as we round off the night, I will be finding someone to raid. Right now, I see online a good friend of mine by the name of Captain Staples.
And hello, Kronos World. Excellent timing. We are just ending, and we're back to go and do a raid.
Just in time for the
Hail,
raid.
Kronos.
Captain Staples is a really cool dude. He, I met him at TwitchCon, and he is a destroyer of paper clips, and defender of all things good and stapley. We're gonna go send him a raid. He also does charity streams, 24-hour charity streams every other week, because he is literally just insane, apparently.
That's crazy.
Does he know the thing where you take 2 staples and you put them back to back and you twist them and make a caltrip out of them? Does he know how to do that?
I don't know, but you
That
should
is-
find
that
out.
is a
That is
cool,
something you should ask
Yeah.
in the raid. But we are ending off for tonight. So thank you guys for being here. Everyone who's been supporting everything, you're all wonderful. I love you all. And I will see you all next time, as always, when a red dwarf tells you.
Did I get
Oh
myself
God,
lost
sorry.
already?
Bye, Larry.
When a red dwarf tells you some deep secrets about the world that you live in, whatever you do, don't forget
Drink
to
the
take it
tea.
slow.
Oh, that too.
That too. Bye, everyone.